Chapter 398, Political Drama 2, A Million Gold Septims. Ambassador Elenwen. What a twisted surprise. I feel like ages since we saw each other last time. Oh, wait a minute. This is the first time we see each other. John saw Elenwen and acted surprised. Elenwen narrowed her eyes for a second, then decided to ignore John, seeing him in a good mood and trash-talking everyone. She walked forward inside the Longhouse's great hall, but her eyes landed on Ulfric's stormcloak in the corner. Her expressions betrayed her, and she was simply enraged seeing Ulfric's face. After all, this is the killer of her master. Ulfric couldn't help but to sneer. Through the years, he could finally face Elenwen, the very same Thalmor officer that interrogated him while he was young, and can now look down on her the same way she always looked down on him. In the end, Elenwen had to swallow the bitter pill and walk further into the hall. No one could miss her annoyed expressions after that. Your Grace, it has come to our attention that some natives of Alinor were among the force that tried to pillage the hold of Winterhold. We would like to be handed over the bodies of our brethren for a proper burial. I do not understand. The Altmare that attacked Sarthal were a band of marauders as far as our investigation is concerned. Would every Dominion ambassador go around each country gathering the corpses of every Altmare lowlife on roadsides? High King Torrig didn't take Elenwen's demanding tone well. Your Grace, this is a Dominion affair, and we advise. Pick your words carefully, Elf. Falk Firebeard was not comfortable with Elenwen too. Elenwen looked between the king and his people, then looked at John Dare, who was standing not far from her with a funny expression. The dead Altmare bandits are under the jurisdiction of Winterhold. High King Torrig dismissed the matter with a wave of his hands. Elenwen looked to the man standing beside the High King. Jarl Career, the matter is under the management of Thane Johnhild. Career brushed it off. Elenwen looked with annoyed eyes toward John, who smiled widely and opened his hands. How can I help you? John said. The bodies of the dead countrymen of mine. The Almarai Dominion would like to... I know. No need to repeat yourself. John said, then sat back. But taking them requires a ransom. I'm sure we all on the same page. Say it. Elenwen wanted to cut to the chase. 2,000 fallen foot soldiers and 9 archwizards, if we summed it up. But still, goddamn. You high elves surely have a lot of rouge archwizards for them to gang up so far from Alinor and cause a mess. The Isles of Somerset must be one hectic place at this rate. John deviated from the subject. The ransom, 100 golden septims for each foot soldier, 80,000 golden septims for each archwizard. The people in the room all sucked a breath of cold air. John was extorting the Thalmor for almost 1 million golden spetims. John Dare, you are biting more than what you can chew, Elenwen said. Meaning, the Thalmor government doesn't like to be pushed around, and there surely will be retaliation. You are not the same John Dare from the other day. We know about your puny attempt to reach a state of divinity was merely all your best effort, and we will admit that it was admirable, but you put a large target on your back and your city, Thane Johnhild. There is no getting away from that. Even the Empire won't extend a hand of help to you. Elenwen's tone was full of threats. Oh, really? John tilted his head. See for yourself. Elenwen walked away from her position to let John have a look at the Imperial envoys that were sitting on the other side. Surely they were not comfortable with Elenwen's claims and raised a fuss before the High King shuts them up. Ambassador, that's one thick nerve you have that let you threaten my retainers in front of me. I can call this negotiation off if I want. Torrig returned a threat to Elenwen. She calmly nodded and looked at John. He stood up and walked to her till their shoulders met. A high elf like her was indeed tall, but John was taller. Let me teach you a lesson in capitalism. What doesn't kill you still requires you to pay up. So pay up. Winterhold does not negotiate with losers. Huh, you sure want to take it that way? Elenwen asked. Sigh, I fucking hate negotiations. Fine, I'll entertain you. John said, then turned to her. Do you have one of those investigation dossiers on me? The ones you keep in your torture chamber? Elenwen was taken aback. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't deny it. Every Thalmor has a torture chamber. Point is, You surely have a dossier about me, so you should know my life story very well. I'll summarize it for those who don't know it. One day I was born, then every Thalmor tried to kill me. That brings us up to date. John kept a wry smile on his face, then looked at Elenwen. Do you really think any of your threats scare me? John summarized his biography in 18 words, making a lot of sense to whoever heard them. What kind of threat should scare him if the Thalmor are already out for his head? I see. Suit yourself. 1,000,000 golden septims it is, Thane Johnhild. Elenwen turned around and was about to leave, yet something intrigued her, and she stopped. She then pointed to an empty seat beside the Imperials and turned to the High King. May I? The ones around the room felt not comfortable. Why would she want to stay after costing herself 1,000,000 gold septims? Ulfric wanted to lash out, but John was smiling vividly. Ulfric kept gazing between John and Elenwen and noticed the other 2 high elves which arrived with Elenwen. Something was wrong, and things seemed to be accelerating to a new drama. Your Grace, it is so good to see you here in this frozen, beautiful lands on the north. One of the 2 high elves walked forward. He was the one wearing a bard robe. Viarmo, it is good seeing you here too. Let me guess, this is not a social visit. Torrig greeted Viarmo back. Viarmo. Ulfric and the others were alert to the name. This man is known as someone with deep pockets everywhere, and his ability to manipulate politics is scary due to his secret network of spies. The Court of Solitude always kept him close by, but he served no master. For such a snake to appear in Winterhold. A social visit? Indeed it is. What can a bard like me do if not socializing and earning his money where fine nobles and merchants stay? I was also here to guide my good friend here. Your Grace, I present to you my kinsman, Legate Facendel. The other high elf walked forward and greeted High King Torrig with a salute of the Imperial Legion. This high elf was donned in a legionnaire armor and didn't show any hint of disdain towards Nords just like the Viarmo. The only difference is that Viarmo is a slimy man, while that Legate Facendel seemed like a straightforward person. Elenwen was eyeing the 2 up and down until she heard the name Facendel and her expression sunken. Legate Facendel? Indeed, the famous Altmare Legate. I heard so much about you. High King Torrig seemed to be familiar with the name too. Even John was familiar with Legate Facendel, but his knowledge is from a game. Legate Facendel may be an Altmare, but his hatred for the Thalmor is top-notch, someone John was so looking forward to meet. It's an honor, Your Grace. So, what brings you to Winterhold's court today? Torrig asked. Legion business with the Jarl and the Thanes, Your Grace. I am really sorry to interrupt the meeting like that. It's okay. We are about to take some rest anyway. All right, folk. 20 minutes will be enough to gulp on some warm mead. Everyone stood up, and as Torrig did, and the servants of the Jarl started serving mead and food. John ran to a corner with Alina and clutched on a few bottles for themselves. Thane Johnhild, Jarl Ulfric, a word, please. I'll be with my father. Alina took off. John was crying as soon as Alina left him alone with Ulfric. Yes, Jarl Ulfric. How can I help you? John said with a tired face. He was ignoring Ulfric and his messengers for a couple of years now, and they finally had him meet one-on-one. John was completely not looking forward to this. Actually, it is the other way around. How can I help you, Thane Johnhild? Ulfric said with a warm smile. HM? Sorry? John was genuinely taken aback. How can I help you? I wish to be of help. Yes, my mind is still processing. What exactly do you want to help me with? With this. With what you are doing. Oh, what exactly is that? I am sorry, I was a bit excited. Ulfric cleared his voice to speak in a lower tone. Let me fight for you. John took a step back, then looked at the bottle in his hand. Damn, this stuff is good. I think you heard right. Also, you haven't taken a sip yet. Really? John tried to find some sense in reality. Okay, let's do this one more time, but get less excited, please. Speak Nordic. You heard me damn right, Thane Johnhild. I want to fight for you. I saw something bigger than myself yesterday, and I realized many things. I kept thinking last night, and I came to enlightenment. Everything we fought for, everything I tried to accomplish all those many years led me to short-term gains and long-term losses. Whenever I try to win the Thalmor, they always find ways to turn everything against me. But with you, they're on losing streaks one after the other. You can accomplish things right way better than me. Please, let me join you as there is still time. You will be the answer to everything. Ulfric's request was straight and right from the heart, but the more he talked, the more Jon's face hardened, and his reply, just like a stone falling on water. No. Chapter 399, Political Drama 3-4, The Sassy Jon. This is a double chapter for the votes of 5K and 8K last week. Part 1. People fight for 4 reasons. For faith, for resources, for family, and for honor. To fight for faith is to have an idealism you want to spread or protect. To make a world of peace, to end the tyranny of the strong over the weak, to spread justice, and to create hope for the future. To fight for resources is not something Nords are strange to. We live in a harsh world where everything is limited. People need what makes their lives better, and other people may have what they need, so they wage wars, and may the best man win. To fight for family is the most noble of causes. There's no need to explain here. It is the highest calling of them all, dare I say, more than faith. Man without family is but a lone broken beast whose back is to the wind ever exposed. Without family, there is nothing in the world. And to fight for honor is to find the poetic meaning of fighting. It is to know how to fight the good fight and make the right call. None will ever understand this sort of fighting unless those who know what honor is. In truth, honor wraps up every reason there is to fight and every reason there is not to fight. Something only understood by those who are true warriors. Now, we face a tyranny of an oppressor whose aim is to cause discord, and which is nothing but for its own advantage, and every Nord soul we take is a man who could stick a spear in the hearts of those enemies. We are the many, they are the few. They fear us. This is how I see things. It doesn't mean I look down on your cause or make little of it. I simply fight for something else completely different. What side would I be on? Skyrim, the Nords, Winterhold. Am I worried about the Thalmor? No, you saw me kill them like weed and cover the land with their blood. What about the ones who assaulted my home and harmed my family? I don't forgive or forget, but I know how to defeat and oppress them how I see fit. Am I afraid of retribution? No, I don't fear retribution or bloodshed, and I'd kill half of Tamriel if they want to touch a single hair on my cat, let alone my family. I'd bear any sin in the world to prove that, and I fear nothing, for I am the sinner man. But I don't like pointless killing. Those high elves I killed were too many. Think of it, if every one of those high elves is a father and a son, how many families did I ruin just in 5 minutes? Of course, I have no sympathy for Altmare enemies, but Nords are a different story. They are my kinsmen, blood of my blood, sons and daughters of Skyrim, who were born under the skies of Kine and the bones of Shore. What about Talos? He is the dragonborn god. It would take more than some low-life elves to diminish him from divinity. All in all, there is no reason for me to fight. Your reason is to submit the so-called legacy of Nords and everything they fought for. I don't know about that, but best of luck, you're facing the Empire. The very same empire that already fell apart and faced the Almarai Dominion in its full power and radiance, and in the end, it managed to reach a stalemate despite the odds. You sure you want to put Nords in front of that? Do as you wish. I won't stop you, but don't come for my doorstep asking for my aid in this pointless bloodshed. That answers your question, Jarl Ulfric. I am no warlord. I'm a family man. I fight for my family. The air around you two got really intense for a second. Alina said, sneaking beside Jon. Yeah, thank you for bailing out like that. Oh, your mood is quite the foul one. Also, Ulfric looks like me when I read all the 36 lessons of Vivek in one go. You did such a thing. Yeah, I wanted to impress Master, but I found out that she sleeps whenever she hears them. Yep, those are her poison. Jon took an empty seat with a tired mood. Human, do you need some fluff? Out of Jon's shadow, Nefertiti jumped out and sat on his lap. Right in time, girl. Jon cuddled with Nefertiti right in the middle of the great hall, and she kept silent, waving her tail. The rumors of Thane Johnhild's weakness to cats seemed to be true after all. After a couple of minutes, one of the Imperial mages stepped towards John and spoke. Thane Johnhild, may I? You smell like hidden motives. Get away from me. John's reply was swift, and the man froze for a second before going back where he came from. So you managed to regain your sass. Alina shook her head wryly. Yes, I am good now. Thank you, Nefertiti. You welcome, woman. Nefertiti took her place on John's lap and didn't pudge while the latter was actually enjoying being chosen by her meow-jesty. John, may I have a word? A voice called for him. Hey, Vittoria. Alina, may I borrow him for... No. Okay. Vittoria felt awkward by Alina's hostile reply, so she sat on John's other side. So, we really didn't get the chance to speak ever since you came, but do you prefer John or Johnhild? Vittoria started to talk nicely. Both are fine, but I'm used to John. Fine. Well, I was really worried about you the last few months, so I was thinking of having a drink together, and how is your fiancé, Vittoria? Alina interrupted. Who? Oh, you mean Esgir? He's fine, I guess. Alina looked at Vittoria with annoyed eyes as the latter acted shamelessly around John, Alina's fiancé. Okay, tone it down. What's the deal, Vittoria? Anything social, let's leave it for the night. I am kicking a party at home. If that's the case, then fine by me. After saying I missed you and all that, there is this thing I wanted you to take note of. The Imperials? Indeed. These people are associated from the Imperial Palace, but not officially court wizards. They are from the Synod. Okay, just remember, they are annoying as oblivion. Unlike the college in Skyrim, the Synod are very involved in politics and would do anything to curry favor to His Imperial Majesty. Meaning, they are after you. After discovering you are the child that the Thalmor were after many years ago, the Imperial Palace had some secret meeting, and the High Council invited the cult of the Ancestor Moth for testimony. The Moth priests decided not to interfere with you, as it is their interference the first time was what caused trouble to you. Some counselors wanted to send Penitus Oculatus agents to search for you and recover you to the Imperial City, but the agency reported your full state in front of the Elder Council, as you are a capable warrior and a strong mage, which may need interference from the Imperial Archwizards to invite you in. Seriously, that is the case. The cult of the Ancestor Moth is going to send some priests to invite you peacefully and offer you protection in the Imperial City. The Penitus Oculatus are also going to contact you, and lastly, the Synod are surely here to make a move. This is fucked up. I know you're saying this, but as far as we can tell, none of them were aware you can turn into a divine being. Now they're going to proceed with extreme caution. John turned silent and closed his eyes. Even Alina, who didn't like Vittoria very much, couldn't help but feel grateful for her constant help. John opened his eyes and nodded. Thank you, Vittoria. I owe you a lot now. Come on, that's what friends are for. Just remember, if you wish to go along with the Imperials, you must know that the politics of Skyrim and the politics in the Empire are completely two different things. The Synod, the cult of the Ancestor Moth, and the Penitus Oculatus are just three factions coveting more power, and you are a major asset for any force in the Empire. That ain't going to happen. I have my own plans. You will reject the Empire's summon, with a splendid twist. What if the Emperor himself sent you an invitation? You see, Vittoria, those people from the Empire has only one advantage over me. You know what that is? What is it? They can all kiss my ass, I can't. Pfft. Alina and Vittoria lost it at the same time, causing Nefertiti to wake up from her nap and switch to the Shadow Realm for some quietness. My sides hurt, Vittoria said as she calmed down and cleared her eyes. I'm aware of the Penitus Oculatus and the cult of the Ancestor Moth, but what should I expect from those Synod guys? John asked. Ahem. They hold a large and very significant amount of influence in the Empire. They are genuine haters for necromancy and the conjuration school in general, which are basically what you are famed for. The Synod also are known infamously as scavengers and hoarders of magical artifacts from all across Tamriel. You can pretty much guess their interest in your collection. Fuck, They are robbers in the end. That's what the nobles call them in the Empire. Alrighty, they may be used for the smooth politics in the Empire, but we play the rough politics in Skyrim. Looks like I need an extra dose of sass. John opened a mead bottle and directly drank from it. Just to let you know, these Synod will try to pressure the High King by threats like lowering the food exports of the Empire to Skyrim in case he doesn't cooperate with their agenda sometimes. They are mostly empty threats, as I am the one in control over those matters, but they surely have a connection with people higher than me in rank back at Cyrodiil. The High King may not try to suppress them, as he is always worried about importing food from the Empire. I see, I'll keep that in mind. I'll leave you to your preparations then. Alina, can you introduce me to Patriarch Tormund Firemane? I really have some business proposition I want to discuss with him. Alina looked at John, who nodded to her, so she took Vittoria and joined another group of people. John kept sipping some mead and looked around to see Viarmo on a corner waving for him. John was about to stand up and go to Viarmo, but someone blocked his way. What do you want, Elenwen? Without replying, she sat where Vittoria sat beside John. You seem really comfortable around the place, John Dare. It is my home. I do whatever the fuck I want to do. John and Elenwen thinned their presences to talk to each other without many people noticing. John Dare, huh? That name is quite provoking on its own. How did it come to be? John is short for John Hild, and I don't stand being dared, so I am called Dare for no one to ever dare me. Still, the world is full of idiots. People must hate you a lot by then. Not really. You know, Nords are the complete opposite of you, Altmare, even though we are both racists and have to stick up our asses. Speaking of hating me, the person who hated me the most was my boss from my past life. I used to shorten his name to Dick, especially since his name is Steve. I knew it. You are a breath of fresh air. Thank you. It was sarcasm. Then you need to work on it. Sarcasm is an art, especially when you are up against someone who would spend half the game spamming the other team. Stupid bitch. Insolent Nord. Is that how you high elves insult people while keeping high and mighty? We're not some northern savages like someone else. Oh, using the S word. Fine, let me stay classy and keep silent. After all, if my mouth doesn't say it, my face definitely will. And that is, goest and fucketh thyself. Classy, right? Elenwen couldn't even vent any negative emotion on John. She just kept glaring at him with no ability to do anything whatsoever. I'm a total sassy bitch after I start drinking, and also without drinking, so deal with it. Elenwen gave up on trash-talking John and changed the subject. That thing you said the other day, the game has not started, your time has not come. What do you mean by that? She asked. John sank in his chair and smugly smiled. Well, you still have a destiny to fulfill, Ambassador. I don't tell this to a lot of people, but at least I own you this much. If by anyhow you manage to stay in Skyrim as the ambassador till the second half of Fort E201, you will see pretty interesting things. How exactly? Advantages of divinity. Oh, it seems the king is back. John stood up from his place and walked back to his seat as the meeting was about to intensify again. Part 2. Now that everyone has taken a rest, we continue the meeting. Torg spoke, then looked to the side. The point we want to raise the most is our concern about the military force regarding the Dare Corps, mercenary group owned by the Dare Dragon Company. As far as the laws allow, the entity of a mercenary group can't raise its number of recruits over 1,000 men. By a rough count on the battlefield yesterday, the ones known as the Dare Troopers have numbered around 300 to 400 men. Thane John Hild. Those people are your men, so you must know the consequences of over-recruiting, right? The High King talked right to John. Yes, your grace. I have prepared all the necessary papers regarding the Dare Corps. Right here. John said, and took out some papers out of thin air. Falk Firebeard walked toward John and took the documents. I'll never get tired of you taking things out of thin air, Falk said in a low tone. You're welcome. Falk started going through the documents and took him quite a while to go through all the data that John stuck on. Your Grace. Legate Sulla of Fort Castav stood up. Go ahead, Legate. It has come to our attention that the so-called Dare Corps of the DDC have some suspicious activity around the region, and we have compiled a file regarding those activities and their locations. Here it is. Falk walked from his place and took the other file. What sort of activities, may I ask? Torg asked. The Dare Corps has indeed increased their numbers up to 5,000 men as far as our fort scouts could count, and they have made various military camps and secret fortifications around the hold. Sometimes they're moving actively under daylight and completely and utterly ignore our commands to not trespass in strategic areas like the mountain ranges in the south and the northern beaches where the dwarven ruins are located. So much so, we were banned by the Thanes and the Jarl from doing our duty and patrolling those areas. Legate Sulla seemed to be carrying a lot in his heart against Winterhold. Is that right? 5,000 men is a strong push, Thane Johnhild. Even you should know that. My report covers everything, Your Grace. Humph. And what about the war mammoths? You have secretly trained and openly used unregistered war units on the lands of the Empire. By the military law, you should answer for that. Legate Sulla kept pushing John further. The mammoths are not a Dare Corps units. They were rented. Rented? Some people were taken aback. Yep. How so? High King Torg asked. As far as everyone knows, mammoths are only herded by giants, and they mean a great deal to them. A giant and a mammoth live together as one with an ancient magical bond that can't simply be explained by today's magic. Those of the giant blood, known as the Titanborns, which are the current-day firemen, also have the same bonds with other creatures based on the ancient Nordic pantheon of totem guardian beasts, and I am famously known to have such a bond with my cat partner, Nefertiti. The thing with us is that when a Titanborn or a giant dies, their partners are known as the orphan beasts left to wander lonely among the herd till their death. We approached the giants that migrated lately to Winterhold and offered them peace and a plot of land to settle and herd their mammoths, but in return, the orphan mammoths would aid us as battle beasts in our time of need. Fascinating. Can that be done with every giant tribe? Torg asked. As long as you have someone who can converse with them, and some firemen to command the beasts. Ha ha, I better not get my hopes up then. Torg laughed it off. So in the end, you hired the giant tribe as mercenaries. Exactly. I see. So, Falk, what do the documents state? Torg asked. The same things, Your Grace. Here, both documents imply that the Dare Corps are using more than what is allowed to train units. Falk said, Did that mean that John Dare is admitting recruiting 5,000 men to his corps? What is the meaning of this? Torg asked. I see, quite smart. Falk held John's report and made a wide smile. In the end, both documents state the same numbers, but Thane Johnhild explained his actions, and it is pretty much according to the law. Humph, that's not possible. Recruiting that number is... Legate Sulla was snorted in disdain, but got interrupted. No one was recruited. Falk said, those were the local militia's regular trainees. It seems Winterhold has an excessive number of citizens, so they keep most of the men busy by training them for any possible defense situation, and also have constructed many checkpoints rather than military camps, as the report of Legate Sulla stated. What? How can that be even lawful? When there is no law to state that any action is unlawful, then it is lawful. There is no law that states that training local militia is unlawful, especially to keep thugs and ruffians from gathering in towns. Also, there is no law that states how many checkpoints a road can have. Falk said, Really? Then how about this? There are many of those so-called checkpoints in the wastelands of the West. No, there are roads which may be unrecognized because of the heavy snow, but they are marked on the official maps. This is ridiculous. Thane John Dare has violated many laws in the past, and this is not the end of it. Fort Castav is always low on equipment and provisions ever since John Dare came to power. Legate Sulla was not taking no for an answer. If only you're not doing those unlicensed excavation operations, you wouldn't have lost all these much provisions, Legate Sulla. The one who spoke was Legate Facendel, the Altmare Legionnaire. What nonsense are you spouting, Facendel? Legate Sulla lashed at Legate Facendel. Your Grace, may I? Facendel requested to approach. Torg nodded. Facendo walked forward and handed a heavily decorated piece of parchment to Torig, who opened it right away and skimmed through it. He then nodded and handed it over to Jarl Career. "This is for you." Career looked at what is written and had the same expressions as Torig. He then walked to a corner and called John and Alina to discuss something with for around a few seconds before the three coming to some sort of agreement. Career then used his ring to stamp on the parchment. "Steward Falk, please verify the document." Jarl Career handed the document to Falk. For Falk Firebeard to personally verify such a document, then it means how important it is. He looked at the paper and sighed. "By the order of His Excellency, the Imperial Ambassador Pavo Adius. It is for Legate Facendal Fadali of the Imperial Central Unit in Castle Duar to head to Winterhold as a replacement to the current commander of Fort Castav, Legate Sulla Trebatius. The latter is to return to Castle Duar to receive a new assignment. Approved by the Supreme Authority of Winterhold by the seal of Jarl Career." The content of the parchment was shocking on many levels. Legate Sulla just tried to provoke John Dare for a few times and was making advances today to have some gains, but was completely removed from his place and replaced right away. This was too calculative. Those who could guess the situation looked between John and Viarmo and understood what already has happened. Somehow, those two are on the same page and working together. Viarmo going for such a length to help John was bluntly clear, as he have a few connections here and there and could pull some strings. Legate Sulla was enraged right away. "John Dare, you bastard. This is your doing." "My doing? I wish, man. But this is the Legion we're talking about. I don't care what you say. You bastard have used connections against me. You think I would keep silent about this?" Legate Sulla walked aggressively to John and wanted to clash with him. "Legate, stop this." The people in the room shouted at Sulla to stop, but he was already pushing at John. Like lightning, John's right moved and held Legate Sulla from his face. Not just that, John's brute physical power raised Legate Sulla up in the air with one arm, effortlessly displaying his amazing power. Seriously, people need to start appreciating the effort I put in to not be a serial killer, John said as he brought the Legate's face closer to him. "I mean, like, bruh, did you hear about what I did yesterday? I was kicking ass, man. Do you think I would just get myself some temporary divinity, and without it, I am nothing? Just how pig-headed can you get to start a fight with me? Actually, and after yesterday, I am not sure what my abilities are now. I haven't given it a go yet. Do you want to see how far I can toss you? My money is on the side of the hold." Little by little, the aura of the tyrant was leaking out of John's body. Its feeling was completely different from before. Right now, John could be seen as a red demon by just the naked eyes as his battle spirit showed signs of manifestation, and a vague image of a beast was formed behind John. Those who were sensitive to energy could tell John's level of power. This was a shock on a new level to everyone. During the General Assembly of Jarls more than 3 months ago, John was about the power of an expert mage, but now he was as powerful as a master in terms of battle spirit. The battle spirit had 3 known stages: the basic stage, the awakening stage, and the manifestation stage. The basic stage is when the aura masters are merely new at controlling their powers and require them to breathe and shout to stimulate their spirits. The awakening stage is when the aura shows hints of mutation, like how the madness aura became the tyrant aura. The manifestation stage is when the aura takes a separate form outside the body as phenomenons, such as dry storms and blood suns, or entities like spectral beasts and humanoid forms. John Cleary was taking the first step in that last stage as a vague monster of tyranny appeared behind him. Its aura suppressed the weak and made the strong shiver. John was clearly displaying his power to put the idiots in place. Sometimes extreme solutions save time and effort. Chapter 400 Political Drama 5, The Last Act. Okay, folks, I know you're sick of excuses, but I don't do well in summer. I get weird skin allergies to both heat and cold, so I'm kind of a hamster you need to keep in a safe space. Sorry for being late. Also, a gift came from Vivek himself, Heartsuit UEK. I think I should make a new setting for gift system like each value equals a certain item from the game, and say Vivek gifted us some ebony plot armor, for example. We need that. Anyway, we'll slam you with an extra later, Vivek. Slam. The body of Legate Sulla was slammed on the ground with a terrible force, slamming his whole being to the ground and pressuring it down. The man could barely breathe, let alone speak or cry for help. Thane Johnhild, that's enough. The High King shot up from his seat immediately and called for John to stop his actions. Even though Legate Sulla started it, he was an imperial legate and John shouldn't go too far. John calmly and slowly retreated his force and apologized to the king before returning to his seat. The imperial soldiers which came with Legate Facendal walked in and took the unconscious legate out. It was tiring to deal with a retainer like John. He was too powerful and too resourceful. The only thing that kept Torg not becoming paranoid toward John was how the latter had no ambition in power or throne. He'd rather build an empire of money, business, and influence rather than going after titles and high seats. The tension was high for some time in the Hall of Jarl Career, but it was soon cooled down as the High King personally changed the subject a few times. As it seemed from the start, John was the center of this meeting, and pressuring him too much may give bad consequences. In Torg's mind, he was not worried about John and Ulfric Stormcloak cooperating to make a move against the Empire. It was pretty untimely and unwise, as well as the Empire was in waves of tension right now. More so, Skyrim always had a food problem. Skyrim may have a lot of rivers and open lands, but sadly, not all are suitable for agriculture, and the north parts of Skyrim are barely fit for herding cattle. What can be planted in Skyrim is mostly wheat with some potato, cabbage, leek, and all that can grow in the cold weather. This all made the Empire a very important trading partner to Skyrim. If by any chance the Emperor's wrath was directed at Skyrim, the food prices will rise dramatically, and this is merely the tip of the iceberg. A king like Torg would hate to be under the mercy of the Imperials, but his hands were tied. By any chance, Your Grace, have you ever visited the Abbey of the Synod? A Synod mage asked. No, I haven't been to Cyrodiil in years. I see. Then this is the right time, Your Grace. The spring and summer are the times when the heartland by the fairest. Us, Synod, are known for our grape farms and wine. You should take the chance once, Your Grace. I'll try one day. Maybe Thane Johnhild can also pay a visit to our abbey. I am sure our Archmaster will be delighted to have someone with Thane Johnhild's prestigious background in our humble abbey. The mage directed an invitation to John, by the name and prestige of the Synod for the last 200 years, as a large mage faction. Even a Thane like John should at least honor the invitation. Still, the way the Synod mage talked made it look otherwise. Some people were interested in the meaning of those words, and definitely Elenwen was one. Prestigious background, she said in a low, unbelieving tone. Indeed, the mage found a chance to show off his knowledge. Thane Johnhild Firemane, who is famed as John Dare, is at the center of the limelight to some indoor mage factions, and we, the Synod, were lucky to catch wind of the rumors. The mage smiled, then looked at John and Alina. Thane Johnhild and, of course, Thane Alina are students of the great arch wizard Nerina Arin, student of the great Alf Fyr, first daughter of the great magus and sorcerer, Lord Divaith of House Telvanni. They are basically royal blood in the magic world. Oh boy. Alina held her head while John remained expressionless. Judging by Elenwen's expressions, this was news to her and of course to most of the other people. It was actually strange that the Thalmor couldn't catch wind of this. The Empire is another story, of course. So, Thane Johnhild, will you accept our invitation? The mage said peacefully, but it meant if you don't come, we have secrets more to let out. It was clear to everyone, and Tormund Firemane wanted to shout at the insolent mage, but this was John's reply to speak. Still, the only one who didn't understand the threat was none other than John. As far as he is concerned, this was not a secret, and all his secrets are only between him, his family, and the dead. So he kept silent and not even looking at the mage. Everyone was holding their breath, patiently looking at John and waiting for his reply, but not a word came out. He was even staring somewhere in space. The first one to run out of air was the king. Holding his breath was not his best skill. The Synod mage felt awkward and spoke again. Thane John Hild, about the invitation from the Archmaster. There is no need to repeat yourself. I ignored you fine the first time. John casually said with a lazy attitude. If one could hear the minds of the people inside this hall, one would hear a massive applaud. The first Synod seemed to have taken some physical damage from the burn. The other one, who was an elderly man, took the course from his junior. Thane John Hild, you seem to be unwilling to visit us, and I understand it. Still, we of the Synod always look for forging friendships and alliances with all the other factions around Tamriel. Thalmor included? John fired back. Of course not. The young mage denied. Of course we do. However, the elder mage confirmed. John smirked with an amused face. I am listening. The course of the conversation was getting shrewd and made the non-politicians feel awkward. As you seem to be aware, politics and magic are one and the same in Cyrodiil, even though the majority frown on the act, but the powers of the world always find a way to mock people. Thane John Hild is indeed a valuable asset to many forces around Tamriel, and you will be approached by many in the future near and far. It is very disadvantageous to live in the world alone as some researcher in the Kara North. You should know that you are a mage, a politician, a noble, a businessman, and a man of the arcane arts. You are basically sailing our waters, but without charts or ports. Haha, smart way to put it. But I guess by charts you mean my methods. I didn't try to say anything that may offend Thane John Hild. Don't give me that. I practiced both necromancy and conjuration openly, which gets on the nerve of an organization like yours. Well, necromancy is understandable, but conjuration? I know Oblivion, Daedra, and big bad scary otherworlds may cause you Imperials to not feel comfortable, but it is, as you said, wizard. The powers of the world always find a way to mock people. John took the cat out of the box with the elderly mage. He stood up and spoke openly. Let's discuss some magic out in the open to tease those Nords. My great-grandmaster wrote books upon books that necromancy and conjuration are two separate schools. You can mix between the two well, all right, by putting the specific runes here and there and rewriting the base of the conjuration to summon undead spirits rather than Daedra by changing the methods and the targeted realms. The debate is basically endless, but the practice itself denies the discrimination of conjuration. Fine, I agree with the basic difference between both arts, but the moral compass is the issue here. Why do people keep looking at undead as evil and Daedra as not? I might even argue that the hate of the undead to the living is basic and based on no grudges, but the Daedra are pure evil. That's the case with sentient Daedra, but most conjurers are atromancers. This is still no good. The conjuration itself weakens the barrier between Mundus and Oblivion set by Akatosh. That's a myth. You can't break something divine with a mere Daedra creature. But the butterfly effect is possible. Also, it is reported that you conjured a dragon-like Daedra Titan. Zyko? Come on, my cat can beat that. That too? We don't know the origin of such an ever-changing beast, which is clearly unnatural. Your dealings with unknown forces are dangerous and threatening. You are reported by the vigilance of Stender to have gathered a lot of dangerous Daedric artifacts, and they can't even challenge you in power. You have had a suspicious escape from the vampires. You are reported to carry weird black matters on you and a whole lot of mysterious artifacts. Junior, these make a mage nothing but suspicious and a fool, even though you took a glimpse of what lies beyond the mortal bindings some already consider you a threat. So it would be wise. Oh, go on. John was holding a recording crystal in his hand, pointing it to the mage. The idea was simple. Seniors don't like to get challenged in magic theory by juniors, especially when the senior is an old man. It was etiquette in a magic community to not rudely challenge a senior, which is something John may enjoy. What is that? The mage asked. John manipulated the crystal and played the scene when the mage said some already consider you a threat. You can't stop there with the good part. You recording conversations? Maybe a little too dirty for the current day, Tamriel. The cat is already out of the box. Regardless of how fluffy the cat is, you may keep going. John said, "This will burn your political future, John Dare." "Oh, please. I'm already infamous." John said, "I don't always do the wrong thing, but when I do, it is the wrongliest of all the wrongs that were wrong." "Not funny." The young synod shot up, gazing with hostility towards John. "You know what's funny? Not you. So shut up." John glared at him with murderous intent. "So you will challenge the Empire, John Dare?" The elder mage said, "I'm not the kind to hold grudges. You are a rogue mage with great potential. That's what the Emperor wants to harness. 3 Elder Scrolls and the tools of Kagranak are more than what one man can handle. Watch me. Our point of view is to not let another evil force rise. There was Mannimarco who was just like you, a student of the great line, the Sigics. That's enough, you insolent." Torg roared. "Thane John is a hero of his people and men. To undermine his efforts and to associate him with the god of worms is a huge insult to Skyrim. Take it back." Ulfric Stormcloak participated in the discussion for the first time. John was surprised a bit by Ulfric thinking he was holding a grudge. The elderly synod felt the pressure of the Nords around him and realized that he stepped on the tail of the dragon. John is their hero after all, but there was a clash between the reckless way of magic learning that John follows and the safe ways of the synod. Simply a clash of faith. "Listen, mage, I try to see things from your point of view, but your point of view is stupid. So you guarantee that you won't follow the temptation of the evil and harness dark powers to return to the divinity you once attained. Those who come back after losing connection with what is beyond the Orbis lose sanity, and you are questionable. Indeed, they lose sanity, but is one thing you should know when you deal with me from now on. I may be already insane, and I fear no sin, for I accept what I am, a sinner man. And I promise you that once I bear all the sins, I'll break not just through the binds, but from all rules." What is that supposed to mean? I guess you should subscribe for Winterhold's Weekly to get updates. John turned around back to his seat, but he stopped midway. "Oh, I think I can just make a headline now while I am at it," he said with a smirk. "As I have attained a power not ordinary by the standards of men, mare, and beasts, I'm going to be a burden and cause the scale of power to lose balance wherever I go. Thus, I, John Hild Firemane, known as John Dare Thane of Winterhold and CEO of the Dare Dragon Company, announce my retirement and declare myself starting the life of a wandering hermit." What? The news took all by surprise. John Dare retiring at the age of 18 as a wandering hermit. Everyone was shocked except for one certain person, High King Torg. John looked at him and smiled. "We agreed on this. Come on," he said. Indeed, Torg stood up, and everyone else rose up with the king. "John Dare, you are a hero of this land, but you are giving me a weight I can't withstand. It is for the sake of Skyrim. I accept that, so help me nine. John Hild Firemane, your retirement is accepted, and to seal it, the agreement of banishment from the realm of Skyrim between the throne and John Dare was sealed. During the whole life of King Torg of Solitude, John Hild Firemane is banished from Skyrim, effective in 3 days from today's date. The bullets were one after the other. Retirement, become a road hermit, and exile from Skyrim. John and the High King were in cahoots all along. Why? Simple. If the High King exiled John, it will make the Empire unable to pressure John or Torg using any sort of politics or economic siege. Those two were willing to go this far. But this will damage Torg's popularity by a lot. Are the two men making sacrifices? Thank you. Now that I have 3 days left in Skyrim, I have one more thing I need to do. John turned around to Alina. Girl. He then opened his robe and spread it wide like wings. The inside of his robe was littered with amulets of the goddess Mara, the mother goddess of marriage. John went down on one knee. Will you marry me? Chapter 401. the wedding. Congratulations, John Dare and Thane Alina. The people in the great hall congratulated the two one by one. This was at least the best thing in this audience. Somehow the impulses of John was quite likable to the king and the Nords, creating a happy event and throwing salt in the eyes of the Imperials and the Thalmor. I made preparations with the temple tomorrow, and a party will be thrown in my house. I hope that everyone attends. Thank you. We will be there for sure. Torg and Ulfric were both invited, of course, and the two didn't decline. However, the Imperial Synod mages left. It is so nice when toxic people leave like that. It is like trash took itself out. John whispered to Alina. You were harsh on them indeed. Tell me now, how long were you preparing for this? It was inevitable. One way I had to leave things for you. I am not sure if you will resent me for it later on, but when I return, you can do whatever you want with me. You still have 3 days. Don't depress me so early. Yes, my lady. Those 3 days will be all about you. Alina was satisfied with his reply. What is the limit then? It depends, but it won't be more than 2 years. Also, you can make business trips outside Skyrim every now and then. True. Bring the girls with you. Right back at you. Huh. Good one. The two kept talking to each other in a low tone as Jarl Career made sure that a few rounds of mead go around the people around. Sigurd and Tormund were receiving the congratulations from the people around as the two clans' patriarchs. John Dare, accept my congratulations as well. Elenwen, you still here, woman? Won't you show some Nordic hospitality? You Thalmor should have had your fell yesterday. John's sharp tongue was too hard to endure, but Elenwen did her best. So, just wanted to ask, now that you're going to become a road vagrant outside Skyrim, do you have a certain destination in mind? Elenwen's clear tone and yellow smile showed the meaning of her words. She seems to be getting ready to pursue John to the ends of Nirn. John smiled back to her, accepting the challenge. I do indeed. I was thinking off Somerset, maybe Alina or Cloudrist. Elenwen's smile froze. Are you planning on revenge? She asked in a cold voice. Revenge is not in my plans. You guys are pretty good at fucking yourselves on your own. Careful there. This is not something I can let slide. John opened his hands. Meanwhile, in the land of nobody gives a shit. You are a madman, John Dare. Elenwen turned and walked out. Enjoy your next 24 hours. John sent her away. But she stopped. It still means have a nice day. Tis. Next day in Winterhold, John's manor. I hate those pelts, man. You gave to wear one. A proper one. Just how on? You're the one who wants to be wed by tonight. I know everyone is here, but you are making things too hard for us, man. John was being put into his groom, where a traditional Nordic long robe and a silly circular had made him feel a bit like an oaf, but he still managed to look good in them. Am I seriously going to be dressed in this tight ass suit? I feel like I'll burst out of it if I flex. Don't worry, it is enchanted to stretch. Wolfer said, Man, can't I just get something looser? I look like Captain Marvel, but, well, I'll admit it, I have a better butt. Yes, your butt is quite the distinctive feature. A woman's voice sounded. Oh, Narina, tell them to make it more loose, please. Enough with the loose clothing. You'll have enough time to be a vagrant, so we're loose then. Also, your butt looks nice. Leave my butt out of it, but thanks. I do a lot of squats, as you know. The first step to be a John Dare is to never miss a leg day. That's why there will be only one John Dare. Ragnar, John's cousin, said while helping Wolfer. Hurry up, guys. Alina is almost done in an hour. Jorna called. An hour? By the 9, John just started and already done. Alina was preparing for the morning. Wolfer said, Girls, I know, right? John's suit was handpicked by Alina and fixed on John's size. It looked Nordic, but Alina favored the Cyrodiilic style, and so it became a tight one. Here comes the belt. What kind of sick torture tool is that? I'm already losing my breath, guys. Just hold still. John was at last ready to go. He was shown to a mirror, and everything looked just as Alina envisioned. You look gorgeous, brother. Don't say that while staring at my butt. I just can't under it. Perv. Give this daddy the robe to hide his butt. Putting his wedding's robe on top of the suit, The groom was already completed. You sure want to keep your hair this long. I like it long. Suit yourself. Now, let's perfume you like summer whore. Nice way to put it. Completely unacceptable, though. As John was done, he was brought out to receive the guests. His father and uncles were all gathered around his grandfather, while Alina's family were sitting on another side around Sigurd. The High King and the Jarls were seated in a central place as the nobles. Your Grace, my Jarls, thank you all for coming today. This humble manor of mine is small, but the ceremony will take place in an hour. Easy on the mead till then. Sir John Hild, we are honored to witness this wedding between you and Lady Crimson Moon, daughter of Kine. Torrig congratulated John. For a young hero like Lord John, it is a privilege to attend your wedding. Jarl Ulfric congratulated John as well. Thank you all. I'll be off for the boats. John greeted everyone around and headed with the council of cousins to the docks of Winterhold. John may have proposed with an amulet of Mara, but he is going to marry the spiritual leader of the cult of Kine. This wedding will be Nordic to the bone. The longboats were a must. They must be two, and they have a meaning to them. The boys picked the best longboats owned by the company and took them to John's private dock. There, John used the elder staff of power and fate, pride, to open up a gate to the Golden Dragon Pavilion Island, his domain. He set everything in place and returned to the other dock away from Alina's parade, as the groom is supposed to come later. An hour passed, and the first longboat arrived at the island carrying Alina, who was surrounded by her maids. She was not seen by anyone, as all the maids carried white flags to cover their lady. Everyone else were transferred to the island with portals from John's house. The magic show was one in a lifetime for some people. Alina stayed in a big tent until the second longboat carrying John arrived with Wulfur and 10 of his cousins. Boo! A hunting horn was blown, announcing John's arrival. The bard stood on lines, and music filled the skies of John's domain, celebrating the ceremony. I see why you told us to go easy on the heavy clothing. This place feels better than Falkreath in the summer. Hafthor said, Yes, you guys make sure that the honey mead and the meat is all being prepared. On it. John was on one end of the island, and Alina was on the other. The two started moving towards the ceremonial place at the center in two different parades. Alina's parade was made of beautiful maids and young girls carrying the white flags flutter in the wind, representing Kine, while John's parade was made of his hulking cousins, all traveling in ceremonial Nordic swords and round shields. As the two groups met where the people were gathered, John stepped forward with Wulfur, who carried a cauldron of bear blood, and Alina stepped forward with Freya, who carried a ceremonial sword. A Gothi, Nordic shaman or priest, stood in the middle at the center of the pavilion with a rock carrying the 9 totem symbols of the Nord gods. John and Alina faced each other. She was wearing a long white dress tied on her waist and was covered with a red cloak. Her head was crowned with a crown of roses enchanted to never wilt. Her long black hair was made in a single long braid. Her makeup was breathtaking. The Gothi came between the two. He was a short man wearing a mage robe and a black cloak and a hood. He removed his hood to show his silver hair and yellow cat-like eye. John looked at him and almost fainted. Dearies, kings and jarls and whatnot. I, Theodore Gorlash, welcome you to this unusually satisfying moment in our life where everything goes just perfect, or a certain madman will go berserk on everyone and decorate the place with your intestines if someone dared to disturb this moment. The Gothi said. The whole crowd exploded in laughter while looking at John. He was indeed a madman who would kill anyone daring enough to disturb this point. John, you said the Gothi will be someone from the temple. This gentleman is? Alina said, appreciating the light joke the man made. Right? I somehow invited him to the next family meeting. Dear Alina, I introduce to you my uncle, Shiagarath. Charmed. Chapter 402, Vows Under the Twilight. Sorry, I get kinda late. In truth, I'm at hiatus, but I'll get out of it soon. Thanks to all the supporters on PayPal and Patreon, and I promise I'll get to my peak condition soon. I thought you don't like weddings, Uncle. John, well, I'll make sure that this wedding is one I like. Uncle Shio. Wait, Shiagarath is your uncle. Alina, I prefer to go by Uncle Shio, if you please, my dear. Uncle Shio, didn't I tell you? John, yes, but you were drinking. Alina, I don't get drunk that easily. Just make sure that no one else knows. John, something wrong, John. Wolfer, nope, just make sure that all the cheese pizza we have are served only for the gothy here. And if we have some raw cheese in the kitchen, bring them all over. Wait, open the cheese vault, and keep that gothy sinking cheese. John, all of it. Wolfer, every drop of cheese we have. John, even the cheese wine. Wolfer, especially the cheese wine. John, did I hear that right? Uncle Shio, you did, and it is awesome. Now don't go on a killing spree, or no cheese wine for you. John, how boring. Uncle Shio, zip it. You want to be the gothy, don't screw it up. But no killing. John, humph. Fine, let's do this. Haskell. Uncle Shio, yes, mad god. Haskell, how do we do this gothy thing? Uncle Shio, oh kind. Alina, oh lord. That's a delightful ritual indeed, my lord. I'm sure you'll love it. First, it involved a lot of blood splashing from that cauldron there on a rock here, then putting some on the groom and the bride faces after that. We bring that sword in, Haskell. No need to continue. I already know what to do. Uncle Shio, goodness. Don't get any weird ideas, mad one. This is my wedding, so just do as I say, or else. Wolf, send someone to fetch that cheese, and you, red-suited bald man, you're ruining my background. Now, Alina. Yes, ma'am. Uncle Shio. On it. Wolfer. Oh, okay. Haskell. And you. Is there any other Deidre I need to worry about? Alina. No, unless. No. John. Alina sorted the mess with only one glare. Gothy, let's begin. For some reason, Shiagarath was a little meek towards Alina and didn't even argue. Dearies and little mortals, we gather here today to celebrate, to feast, to enjoy this moment of union as two people fall in madness and get married. In these years they have been together, let's be honest, they killed a lot of people, which is awesome. That time when they hunted some Thalmor together as they first met, true, some very bad, boring Thalmor died when they first met. The second time they met was the day when this lad flew like a madman and burned the pirates to a crisp. Then the two of them went to battle together in Kynesgrove. Then, this is my favorite, the last battle when they planned it all together and sent many people to oblivion. I've personally seen that Dagon get a share to torment. Anyway, life is all about descending to madness together to the very end. The future is filled with more people to kill, so it is a very promising wedding in my personal and humble opinion. And by understanding their full aptitude for disaster, those two has decided to kick it off and get married. Marriage is love, and love is blind. Why? It is because of madness. That's right. Madness was once shooting arrows and perfectly shout the two eyes of love, so it had to bear responsibility in the end and walk it around. Yes, I was a good shooter at my youth and invented the first musical note using a dead woman's vocal cords, but that's a story for a cheese time. Now that we agree about love and madness taking the same pass, we can all come to accept madness in our life, and that's not some hidden agenda or anything. It is just to give you something fun to do. Well, may the bride and groom find the true meaning of love and madness while having fun and killing many people in the process. Shiagarath gave a warm speech that somehow none found it strange. The sword. Freya handed over the sword. You two hold that. John and Alina joined their hands on the sword, and Shiagarath started pouring the bare blood from the cauldron on the stone with the animal totems of the Nordic gods. He then made a marking with the blood on the foreheads of both Alina and John and on their hands holding the sword together. You two repeat after locked foreheads and repeat after me. John and Alina came closer and locked their foreheads touched and started saying the vows. You cannot possess me, for I belong to myself. But while we both wish it, I give you that which is mine to give. You cannot command me, for I am a free person. but I shall serve you in those ways you require. And the honeycomb will taste sweeter coming from my hand. I pledge to you that yours will be the name I cry aloud in the night, and the eyes into which I smile in the morning. I pledge to you the first bite of my meat and the first drink from my cup. I pledge to you my living and my dying, each equally in your care. I shall be a shield for your back, and you for mine. I shall not slander you, nor you me. I shall honor you above all others, and when we quarrel, we shall do so in private and tell no strangers our grievances. This is my wedding vow to you. This is the marriage of equals. It is Celtic rather than Norse, but let it pass. Well, by the powers given to me, since the era is creation, I announce this couple wed. You may, you're already kissing? Fine. You need to exchange the rings, though, the rings. Well, that was unusual. Yeah, I never thought Shiagarath would make a good Gothi, though. Next time you want to bring your uncle, you tell me first. What? How can I control that? He's a Daedric prince. I can only control him with cheese. By the way, he seems a bit meek when you talk to him. Me? Yeah, it is strange. I don't know. I feel he is not as evil as the Daedra we saw so far. The only one you saw is Vermina, which is demonic on the standard scale. But yeah, Shiagarath is kind of a wild force without a purpose. Not good or evil. I felt that too. He's a bit like you, you know? Like me. Yeah, it's like you two are cut from the same cloth. Weird, right? Somehow. John and Alina were having a private discussion alone on their fancy seating. John was worried about Shiagarath, but he seemed to be engrossed at the cheese wine tasting party of his own. A total of 10 fattened sheep and a dozen deer were brought in today to be slaughtered. The party was full of all kinds of meat, and the roasting smell was destructive. The mead and wine flowed from the barrels like rivers, and the cheeses were mounted around Shiagarath. As Alina and John were done with the vows and rings, the Firemans and the Moonblades entered a competition of races, duels, and shooting. The losers had to serve mead for the winners. The atmosphere was filled with music, and somehow, Nefertiti was surrounded with many kids and cats who had their own party on the side. John had to serve the elders drinks too, and had a man-to-man talk with his father. It was then when John Rad introduced John Hild to the man who protected him the first few months of his life on Nirn, Fultame. On another place, Wolf and Jorna were having their own moment, as well as all the young lovers in Shiagarath with cheese. John and Sigurd decided to duel each other, which was a loss for John despite Sigurd being drunk. As he was done with most of the entertainment, John met a woman who somehow found her way inside his domain and had a chat with her. He had to sigh and offer her some drink in the end, then joined his girls and his wife for a round of dancing. The woman that John just talked to walked as if she was unseen with a glass of red wine in her hand and joined Shiagarath's table. He looked at her with a frown. Mad one, what brings you to the neighborhood? Wasn't I invited? I don't remember my nephew inviting you here. He didn't. I came to claim a name and offer guidance. Claim a name? In this day and age? You know mortals, they love to come up with unique names from time to time. I'm not even going to bother myself with you. I'm here for the cheese. Haskell, don't give that woman any cheese. In fact, you may give cheese for everyone and not for her. Yes, mad god. Save your cheese, mad one. I'm already done here. Aren't you curious about his next labor? I'm sure he'll manage. Indeed, it is finally time, you know. His purpose and value will truly shine from this point on. He will carry the most fearsome weapon befitting for my laborer. My money is always on my dear nephew, vain one. There is no weapon he can't swing. I hope you are right. The girl who holds the bitter mercy is waiting for him. The two shall be sent to the queens, and their enemy shall truly emerge this time. Yeah, bore me to death. Maybe this is the only way you can kill me with. My nephew is already winning this. That's why you chose him in the first place. True. Well, you got what you wanted. We all pity your enemies. End of the story. Leave me to my cheese. John kept gazing at the two Daedric princes that were fooling around at his wedding. He locked his eyes on Azura, whose proud expressions were clear as day. He couldn't hear what they said, but the words she just told him kept ringing in his head. I have served your purpose for you to serve mine. A promise kept by you appreciated, and the name I shall keep. As her mother's prayers reached me, she is now my herd. A dun mare she becomes full, my daughter of a 1,000 line of daughters. Blessed by my light, she is twilight, she is a child of Azura. He looked at Jelinek and caressed her head. She smiled back at him. She shall never be harmed like what happened before, as she is now under divine care and bore a great blessing. A child of twilight. Chapter 403, Love Till Sunset. Big flipping thanks for at Alex and at Sebastian. Smiling face with heart, eyes, money mouth face. The whole scene Miss Manor has had a lot of changes during the wedding ceremony. New furniture for the newlywed couple, and the whole place got to fancier. The white sheets and the green flowers covered a lot of corners, as if someone with a good taste has put some nice touches here and there. It gave the house a hint of purity to it, and somehow felt like a place one would feel bad leaving. In the main bedroom, which was heavily redecorated too, the black-haired, red-eyed beauty looked at the red-haired, blue-eyed man beside her as she let her body rest on his. So, Madame Alina Firemain, how was it last night? It was amazing as always, Mr. John Hill Firemain. It has been ages since we had a one-on-one. Supposedly, you are all mine from now on anyway. We have until tomorrow, so make the most of it. What? Only until tomorrow. Yep. John walked out of the bed and put on his clothes. Where are you going? If it is until tomorrow, then we have to stay in bed for the rest of the day. At least we need to eat. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Dare. Joel walked in with a tray in hand. Okay, and you guys already preparing everything? Yes, sir. Joel made a cute salute. I just love you. John couldn't endure how cute she is and stretch her cheeks. Hey, I'm supposed to be the one getting all the love here. Alina growled. How shameful of you to say that after last night. The house was shaking so hard, and Ela just managed to sleep an hour ago. Wow, we were that active? John was taken aback. The house foundations kept screaming the whole time. Whoops. So, what's for breakfast, Chef Joel? Mutton soup with dummery spices. This is too fancy to be breakfast. I asked for it. You love meat any time of day as far as everyone knows. Alina said, I'm carnivorous, so yeah. Let's nom nom das tasty. Glad you like it. I love it. Ever since John returned and Jelinek recovered, the house regained its liveliness. John's eyes looking at her was carrying a strong of emotion, and he seemed happy whenever he saw her. As she left the room, leaving Alina and John alone, Alina spoke. What is weighting your mind? Alina asked. Nothing. John felt strange with her questions. Alina narrowed her eyes and stood out of the bed. Her graceful naked figure being bathed in the golden light of the sun coming through the white window sheets made her look like an ethereal being. She put on a very delicate robe and didn't tie it until she reached John and stood in front of him. Say it. Fine. John decided to speak. His tone was low and tranquil, but Alina's eyes widened. There was another Daedric prince in my wedding yesterday, and it was none but Azura. Yep. And she came to collect the meaning of Joel's name. Yep. Which you gave to her. John nodded. So that Azura be her ancestral guardian, which was you all the time. I didn't think this girl will actually worship me. I mean, worship? That's a big word even for me. And you, why did you let Azura have the name? Because Joel is important to me. Once upon a time, it was only me and her, and she was the first person to support me building this town and the company. I can't justify. I'm not invincible. I may fall once again, and she may get affected one more time. I'm not strong enough to hold on to Joel as her ancestral guardian or whatever that divine business is. Deities and people affect one another, and a change in one can be lethal to the other. Azura can do a better job than me. John, what happened that day when you left the battle and returned for Jelinek? To this question, John had to sit down for this one. Azura, I talked to you as equal, Maybe not in power, but you can oppress me from where you are, and I can sever all ties with your labors. And you would risk all the bets that were put on you? Shiagarath will surely be disappointed. There are things one has to risk, and there are things one must sacrifice for. You aided me to find my brother, to regain my power, and to save what I hold dear. For that, I can't thank you enough. You clearly can. I have one more favor to ask. If you do, I'll promise you to bring those who wish to harm your divinity to the sword, and I'll be the terror of your enemies. You are tempting me with sweat words, knowing that I always tend to hear the words that please me. What do you want? Save her. Can't you do so on your own in your state? You know I cannot stay forever in this state, and you know what I mean. She may get hurt if I go and get hurt once again. Who wants that? So you want her in my herd. Her mother is a Dunmare. She is qualified enough? You think so? But I see not what qualifies her. Perhaps some human blood and weak heritage? What are you getting at? You know what I'm getting at? You're no mortal in your state. She will become my daughter, so she will become a full Dunmare. She is to lose her half-human. So back at the whole thing from the start again? The reason why half-breeds do not survive. But I can't make that choice for her. You only have to if you want to go through with this. Also, she needs a bloodline to endure what follows. Bloodline? How does this work? Bloodlines bring potential, stars bring aptitude, and gods bring fate. I get it. You want me to? No way. She will be one of a kind. Are you doing this on purpose? And why do you think I don't have a purpose? If your river extends to my sea, I'll be ever thankful. You twisted, damn it. I don't even feel angry at you. The benefit is equal. Fine, I'll give her my blood, and I'll give you her name. What do you mean by that? Alina asked. Azura is to look after Jelinar for me now that she is her ancestral guardian. She no longer will get harmed if I do. Will she agree to that? She doesn't have to. She won't even tell the difference. What matters is that she is safe. And more than just safe. I don't think she will be happy about it, but that's her matter. But what more did Azura give her? Well, she was directly turned into a full Dunmare by Azura. She took the blessing of Azura as her sacred child, just like you and Kine. You're kidding. Alina jumped off her place. John made an understanding face. She is a sacred child of Azura? This is crazy. She may figure it out, but leave it to her. Still, what is that thing about bloodline? John became silent for a bit. Healing her needed her soul and fate to get upgraded. There was only one way, and that is to have a bloodline like ours of the clans with ancient ancestry. Wait, you don't mean? Correct. You became a fire main by marrying me, but she became a fire main by sharing my blood. She is the very first fire main dark elf with my bloodline who is the purest among the firemans. You can't be serious. Does a clan know? Alina's face widened. John shook his head. This is insane. The very first nun, Nord Fireborn, and Titanborn? I mean, your clan had relationships with other races, but all the descendants didn't inherit all the traits. What is Azura's purpose? She probably wants my children with Jelinar to be dark elf firemans, so that they can gain influence in Morrowind. I guess. What? Are we creating the 7th great house in Morrowind now? House Dare? You got to admit, my descendants should be monsters. The Telvanni and the Endoral shall fear them. Aha, that's interesting. You really are already thinking this far? What about our descendants? These ones will be titans. They'll conquer the world and create an empire that will span around the galaxy. The what? Oh, around the Orbis. It will be a directic empire that will conquer the lands in oblivion. Now, that's something none did before. I can already imagine them blasting away Molag Bal's Cold Harbor with a Death Star based on my will. Shit, I'ma write that. Well, that's a good flex even for you. But an empire sounds awesome. Oh, my dear wife, look at us making history the second day we're married. Making up just to correct you. And this is not the first time you planned on taking over the world. I hear you planned that off with Nefertiti a couple of times before, but you two always slept it off. Yeah, kind of keeps getting very tiring at some point thinking about how to keep so many humans in check. So we just set another day for discussion, which never arrives. How like the two of you? Kind. I'm going to miss this. Alina smiled, then started to feel down after it. John could already tell what she is thinking about. Your unending boasting and silly cat jokes. You're taking all that away from me for 2 years. I'm going to miss all of it, you cold-hearted husband of mine. I'm sorry. Your sorry is not enough. I know, but what can I do? Sometimes sacrifice is needed to be done. And that's our honeymoon for starters and the 2 golden years of our lives. I don't blame you. I just dare you to take me with you. John out his hand slowly on Alina's long and graceful neck. He came down with his posture to engage with her in a heated kiss. I wish this works, but it is some labor I need to do. I agreed on this. John put Alina on the bed and put away her robe to reveal her crazy, insinuating body under it. Her arms were around his head, ready for the pushing force that will arrive. The two had forgotten about the food and fell into another round of lovemaking all over again. No. We are coming to watch this time. Joel bragged and dragging the half-sleeping Hila with her. John and Alina smiled wryly. You two line up after her. I'm taking you all on till sunset. Chapter 404 Goodbye. At night, Winterhold's Gwen Casino. I can't believe you're leaving me in this cold Skyrim and going to fool off somewhere, John. The imperial woman beside John said as she stuck her body to his. I owe you a lot, Vittoria. Your help kept Winterhold not only afloat, but it rose to the top in a blink of an eye. It is the least I can do. Also about Keening, your help was really pivotal in this victory. In the future, I know just the way to pay you for your kindness. Oh, I hope I like the surprise. By the way, I wanted to give you this. That is an Imperial diplomatic messenger pass that will make you go through any Imperial camp or patrol or even ask for aid. Of course, you should use it only on borders and put up the air of secret agent kind of guy. I'll treasure it then. If you ever find yourself near Colovia next fall or winter, you are welcome in my Vici estate. Oh, is it that easy? Just use the pass you have. Goodness me, it was quite the shock when I discovered you're the daughter of the Duke of Colovia. Was it that unimaginable? I am a hard-working independent young lady, and I have a lot of old siblings, so I can just acquire my own title somewhere else. And you're doing a good job at it. Indeed. And what about you, Alishka? You're awfully silent. John turned to the curvy women on the other side. Boss, things are going to get too dull without you here. I enjoy my job, but I always enjoy your company more. Look at that shameless woman. Leave a married man to his own business. You won't spend any time with me before you leave. My wives drained me this morning. I still need my legs walking, you know. I'm the first woman you've been with, and you should give me some benefits. Other than managing a scary amount of the company's assets and training the girls who work as the core management of our company, I'm sure you're now being called Dame Alishka among our partners. My current status is only thanks to a certain young man who looks after his people. Yes, fix that attitude. John was surrounded by the 2 beauties as he joined them for one last game of Gwent. He had to make sure that his people are well pleased before he leaves for the labors. The ones he needed to worry about were his biggest trade partner and one of the major members of the company. Thankfully, the 2 women are his. He entertained them until it was time for him to meet another. This was his brother, Wolfer. The 2 met at the entrance of the casino under the night sky in the empty street. I guess this is it. Wolfer sighed. Yeah, it was truly fun. Yep, a wild ride. We did good, you know. 2 orphans from Riften, hitting the road to solitude, winning a tournament, building a town, winning battles, damn. We need a movie about the 2 of us. Ha. I feel strange, man. Things happen around you. I don't understand how you keep a sane mind after all that. Brother, you're offending me. You know I lost it before we know each other. Yeah, I don't think I'll get more surprised. Wolfer said as he looked up at the sky. I assure you, all that we do here is preparations for the real test. The enemies that we're going to face can flip Tamriel upside down. John said in a calm tone. That's why I always ask for a new course to Akavir in our fleet. I can leave this world and run with Jorna. Good idea. I still need you, though. Yeah, Someone must tinker your stupid ideas into steel. I love it when you put it that way. The two laughed real hard and had a brotherly hug. John returned to his house to see his family waiting for him. Alina was the first to welcome him with a tight hug as she looked into his face meaningfully. You've been drinking. Gotta keep it warm. Also, I don't get drunk. After her came Joel. You still won't take me with you. John simply caressed her hair. You promised me that night that I'll be your shadow. Here's my home. I married Alina so that I tell everyone that this John Hill Firemain is returning home sooner or later, as this is only temporary. Once I return, I'll marry you too. 2 wives. You're quite the capable man, son. John Rat. Thanks, Dad. What are you teaching him? Hilda. The boy is achieving things I couldn't even. John Rat. Choose the next words carefully. Hilda. John walked to the cradle in the center of the room and looked at the 2 sleeping babies sleeping peacefully in. John got closer to Thor and Iden. Big brother is going to leave the place for you too. Make sure to have fun and break everything you want to break. Also, play with cats a lot. Dogs are a bunch of idiots. Hey, Hilda and Ela felt offended. John smiled widely as the last one in the room was Ela. Wolf girl, red boy, don't act so rough. Come on, a warm hug. John pulled the stiff Ela closer. Her character was not compatible with warm emotional moments, but she broke the tough attitude. I'll miss you. If you die out there, I'll kill you and be sad. Yeah, good progress. John looked around before giving a sigh. Where is Nurina? I'm here. Nurina walked from inside the house. Her face seemed a bit pale. John could tell her mood was ruined. I'm sorry. I wish I could have stayed, but the choices we make sometimes force the path of life to take some weird curves. She nodded. Be careful out there. I never liked the Daedra, and I hope you sever ties with them one day. She said, I will. As for your grudge on the Daedra, I promise that I'll make them pay for the pain they caused you. John and Nurina have a special bond, and he knows her pain. She hated the Daedra ever since she was a child living with her family in the city of Vivek. 200 years ago, when the Bar Dow, a large floating rock above Vivek City, was about to fall, the Dunmare built a device by the Daedras helped to keep it afloat. That device required mortal sacrifice, and members of Nurina's family were among the randomly chosen sacrifices until the machine failed and the Bar Dow fell on the city, obliterating it. When young Nurina was rescued by the FYR household, she held nothing but resentment to the Daedra, even though she now is an archwizard with a wide understanding of things. Don't do anything reckless, brat. Can't promise you that. He smiled at her and kissed her forehead. The one she sheltered all that time was now taking the first step into his true fate. She felt very bitter, not having any power to alter such a curse away. A family hug was centered around John until the door to the house was knocked on. Who is it? John Rad opened the door and a high elf barged in. Thane John, I've done it. Ha ha, I have done it. Master, what are you doing here at this hour? Jelinar asked. Oh girl, you look lovely. Where's Thane John? Ah, here he is. You are a genius. Ha, a genius. Master Nurelian, the master alchemist of the White File Shop that moved from Windhelm to Winterhold, seemed very excited about something on his own. Old pile of bones, we are having a moment here. Nurina fired at him right away. A moment. What is that? Thane John, you've got to see this. Mixing Lorcan's tears and Kind's tears, that mixture that you created, is so genius. It is poetic. Master Nurelian, I'm sure whatever the discovery is, it should be a business with the company, not me. I'm but the former boss. Huh, do I look like I care? Also, I know everything going on. You're retiring and leaving. Don't worry, I didn't lose my mind yet even though I was on the verge to do so. Here, take this. Master Nurelian took out a white bottle and gave it to John. Whoa, that's the white file. Weren't you the one to keep it? John said. I know, I thought a lot before coming, but it is now clear that you need it more than me, or rather, you need the potion I prepared for you. Think of it as me lending you the file until you return. John blinked a few times before taking the white phial. What potion is it? John asked. Come close. Neurelian pulled John close and whispered something to him. John's eyes gradually widened and stared at the phial with shaken eyes. You're saying I have an infinite supply of that potion? Yes, you can have it with you all the time you're on a run, and, it is the best thing I did to date. It is truly when alchemy beats magic. This is insane. Should I be worried? Alina said. No. John and Master Neurelian had the same mischievous smile on their faces for some reason. Thane John, if I live until you return, make sure to bring genius stuff with you home. This is going to be brilliant. I'll go now. I think I came up with 3 new potions on the way here alone. Take care, Master Neurelian. John was affectionately looking at the white phial in his hand. This is truly an amazing surprise. He kept it in the cube for now and turned around. He smiled at his family as a goodbye was to be said. Chapter 405, Sinnerman, the Jarl's Longhouse. High King Torg was still in Winterhold. He kept standing near the central fireplace of the hall of the Jarl of Winterhold to warm himself. Is it time? He asked. No, your grace. 2 more minutes. Then we wait. Where is Jarl Ulfric? He headed to Windhelm just some time ago, your grace. He is indeed stubborn. Torg didn't say anything further until Falk announced the end of the 2 minutes. Your grace. Is it time? Yes. The king touched the ring on his right hand and took the steps to the central table where a single paper was spread. The sentence of exile against Jonhild Firemane by the throne of Skyrim. The royal seal of King Torg was imprinted on the paper right away. From this day until the day when High King Torg, son of Islad, walk this Nirn no longer. We, the High King of Skyrim, hereby announce Jonhild, son of Jonrad of Clan Firemane, exiled from the realm of Skyrim. Effective right away. The High King announced it to the important figures present in the hall. Torg understood John to some degree as the two of them sought out peace, but sooner or later, conflict will rise. The words John said to Torg once were still lingering on his mind. He looked at the book he was reading beside the wine glass on the table and opened its first page once again to immerse himself in the title. The Book of the Dragonborn. John walked out of his house's gate with a small black cat walking beside him. It was 12 a.m. of the new day, and now it was time to run. Many were eyeing him, some with sadness, some with pity, and some with opportunities in mind. Some were friends and family, while others were haters waiting for the dragon of Winterhold to fly away. He smiled his mind to every one of those people. They were either standing towards him on the other side of the road or hidden behind walls. Still, all were toned to the same frequency. John raised his hand and pointed up, and as if a red star was shining in the sky, a red blade slowly appeared with a strong, oppressive aura. Bloodskull was floating above Winterhold. By the decree of John Dare, may the tip of this blade find its way to the hearts of those who wish to harm what I hold dear. May this blade ever carry my will, my wrath, and my care. All those who were present looked up. The red sword shone with a strong light, then disappeared the same way it appeared. Looking back down at John Dare, he was no longer here. Was it north? Was it south? Which way did he take? Those who were planning to tail him were played well. Now you see me. Now you not. John mocked them with a wide grin from the battlements south to Winterhold. Human, this is a bad habit playing with people. For you of all people to say that. Heathen, I'm a cat. Forgive me, your holy meow jesty. The two were now all by themselves on the road again. They jumped off the wall unseen and ran beside each other to the south. Back at Winterhold, Alina walked out of the house wearing her iconic red dress with no face or head covers. She could feel that orbic energy of John, as Bloodskull, kept watching over Winterhold in the stead of its owner. John seemed to have planned this since the battle and imbued the sword with some kind of seal that would keep it serve that purpose. Of course, John can't take his favorite red sword with him. Everyone knows about that sword now. Alina could only sigh inwardly and walk towards the casino of Winterhold. Wolfer was expecting her arrival, and he pushed the door open. Sister-in-law, brother-in-law. She walked in the casino, which was filled with visitors. John seemed to have had a little farewell party just a while ago. Lady Boss, Elishka, how do we serve your ladyship? Hee. Fine, clear the stage for me. Elishka only snapped her fingers, and the bards on the stage all cleared away. Alina held the sides of her dress as she walked up the stage. She stood on top of it, dazzling everyone with her beauty, yet her eyes carried a glare that kept them all sane. Her left hand opened up, casting a single magic spell that caused a small green orb to hover beside her. Out of that green magica orb, music started to play. The music was quite unusual and alien, but not hateful or strange to the tastes. It felt like different cultures were mixed all in one single note. Alina had a thing for this type of music that John would occasionally play. He said it was called jazz. She took a liking to the music and its songs, so with her variety of talents, she could of course sing. Oh, Sinnerman, where you going to run to? Sinnerman, where you going to run to? Where you going to run to? All on that day, John and Nefertiti ran beside one another. He wasn't wearing any robe or armor, but rather a black shirt on black pants. When he felt the style was lacking, he summoned out greed and made a long black trench coat with some diabolical inscriptions on it. Human, people are surrounding us. As they felt many presences surrounding them, the two ran away from the road and hid behind a rock. We gotta run to the rock. Please hide me. I run to the rock. Please hide me. Run to the rock. Please hide here. All on that day, John looked around him and found many people blocking the road, centered on a mountain and hiding behind the rooks around them. High elf mages, wood elf archers, Khajiit assassins. A Thalmor assassination team. Desperate, aren't they? John shook his head wryly and thought of teleporting away. Suddenly, and out of nowhere, an arrow broke through the air, targeting John's head. The archer got to be a top expert archer, judging by the strong magical element on the arrow. John dodged the arrow, but he was now visible to all enemies. But the rock cried out. I can't hide you, the rock cried out. I can't hide you, the rock cried out. I ain't gonna hide you there. All on that day, John looked around and raised up his hand slowly. Take it easy, boys. Fighting here will leave a lot of mess for the poor people of Winterhold to clean. Do you want them to remember the boss they love as the man who left the road all broken to pieces and littered with meat paste and rivers of blood? This human has a big mouth indeed, kill him. A high elf wizard said. I really wanted to avoid this. I said, Rock. What's the matter with you, Rock? Don't you see I need you, Rock? Good Lord, Lord. All on that day, John cast Electro Hand on the rock he hid behind, and a palm of lightning carried the small boulder in the air. Say it. John simply waved his hand, and the rock swept through the spots on the mountain where the wood elf archers hid. Nefertiti turned into a wercat and sank in here shadow, then appeared where the Khajiits are and started killing them without remorse to her feline kind, while calling them infidels. John retreated the rock back to him and faced the remaining high elves who were blocking the road, while carrying the ridiculously heavy rock with one hand. The rock was covered with elven blood, bone, skin, and flesh, as well as the echo of their screams and terror. You mere kind never learn. So I run to the river. It was bleeding, I run to the sea. It was bleeding, I run to the sea. It was bleeding. All on that day. Shit. Spread around. The high elves lost their composure. John was indeed much stronger than before he attained temporary divinity. Too late. He made his magica explode between his hand and the rock, causing it to be launched like a cannonball towards the elves. The clash caused their bodies to explode in a splash of red blood and golden skin, leaving a long trail of blood until the rock crashed down. So I run to the river. It was boiling, I run to the sea. It was boiling, I run to the seat. It was boiling. All on that day. Human, you caused a mess. Right back at you. Looking at the bleeding mountain and the trail of blood covering the road, John sighed. Fine. I'm a sensible person and I clean after I take a shit. Good human. John waved his hand around with a spell, and the whole mess was enveloped in flames. The burning hot flames caused the snow to melt then boil. The stench of burning flesh may cause some people to get their guts spilled out of their throats just by how horrifying it is. So I run to the Lord. Please hide me, Lord. Don't you see me praying? Don't you see me down here praying? But the Lord said, go to the devil. The Lord said, go to the devil. He said, go to the devil. All on that day, John looked up the sky wondering when this fight will ever end. He killed so many that his soul became numb, so many that he had started to feel tired. He doesn't want to kill anymore, but he just keeps taking more lives the more he tried to stop. The side of him that hated killing was mostly the one he reincarnated with, and the side that is bloodthirsty and mad is the side that was born on this world. He could tell why was he reincarnated. If he wasn't, this mad, bloodthirsty side of him would have no off switch and would keep bathing in his enemy's blood till it's red, so someone had to act as the lid to this boiling mixture of homicidal madness. The sin of killing made him feel very heavy. As his eyes searched through the clean, starry sky of night, an object entered his vision. The towering shrine of Azura was just atop the mountain near him. We have to talk. So I ran to the devil. He was waiting. I ran to the devil. He was waiting. Ran to the devil. He was waiting. All on that day, John took the black star and levitated up the mountain. The mess he left behind kept burning, and its smoke rose to the sky as he reached the first step up to the shrine of Azura. Priestess Arania Ionith, the one who tends to the shrine, was waiting for John. She saw the black star in his hand and frowned. I'm here for my labor and to fix this, he said. Very well. The priestess led the way to the shrine, and John followed. He stood in front of the large altar and based to Azura's statue until her voice reached his head. I cried, power, 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 Lord. Power, power, Lord. Power, power, Lord. Power, power, Lord. He raised the black star in his hand up, and it felt the light of a certain star in the sky calling down on it. Miraculously, the black star was being cleansed, and the black color on it gradually turned into the brightest glimmer of the star of Azura. This star of Azura was back to its full glimmering shine. John held it down, then turned to Priestess Arania and handed it to her, but she refused. As much as I hate it, you are the keeper. Just never corrupt it ever again. John nodded. Your next labor ought to be a short one. Good. Lady Azura has given you quests to aid you this far. She aided you to save your brother even though things went down. She aided you to escape the vampires and aided you through the battle. Even though you were quite insolent to the Queen of Twilight, she always forgave you and showered you with her love and mercy. I'm thankful, Arania. The labor. From now on, your labors will only be to serve Lady Azura. She and her allies have decided which weapon you shall carry in the upcoming labors, and this labor, your fifth, is to retrieve that weapon. Skip to the riddle. Fine. Reach the unreached under the dragon, under the layer of lies and history of cheat. Keep silence, else your success is not guaranteed. Seek the servants of the Dark Mistress and face their traitor. There, you'll find the blade of deceit. John closed his eyes as he already could tell what kind of weapon he is after, that weapon from the game that he was going to avoid at all costs. Looks like Azura didn't want to make things easy for him. Still, such a weapon was a perfect match for him. He was a man of many sins, and that was a weapon fit for a sinner man. I said, Lord, Lord, hear me praying. Lord, Lord, hear me praying. Lord, Lord, hear me praying. All on that day. Sinner man, you ought to be praying. Out to be praying, sinner man. Ought to be praying. All on that day. Chapter 406, Gecko, Polyjuice. A double chapter, one daily and one of the many extras I owe you guys. Part 1, Gecko. As Alina was done with the song, the crowd took a second to breathe and realize what just happened. As expected from Crimson Moon, daughter of Kine, her voice was on another level. Putting that aside, the song and the music were just too good. Applauding may have come a bit late, but it was a big wave that took the casino by storm. From the poor gamblers to the High King who appeared out of nowhere, every one of the mortals shared the same heart-beating rate as the song went on till it was over. Alina walked down the stage. Finally, after letting go of the hard feelings, she had only to find High King Torg walking towards her. There seems to be no running away from that man. Thane Alina Firemane, a word please. Yes, your grace. You could have just sent for me. It's okay. While we're at it, I want to ask about a certain someone who was last seen in Winterhold. I'll be glad to help, your grace. Who are you looking for? Alina asked. A thane of mine, Thane Eriker. Alina was quite in the mood after singing to her heart's content for 10 minutes, but mentioning that name made her almost glare at the High King, who personally took the initiative to speak with her. The king himself felt the amount of pressure that Alina was about to throw at him. She hurriedly came to her mind and let out a deep breath. I am sure, your grace, that you are well aware of Eriker's crimes in Winterhold, and a crime such as his is the spark that started this war. He targeted my husband, my brother-in-law, our business, our lives, and many innocents had to die in a fight that could be avoided. Simply bailing him out like that is an insult to Winterhold, the Firemans, the Moonblades, and all our friends. I'm sure the Goldhair clan also has the same opinion. Alina's reply was full of sharpness, as she was annoyed. She even mentioned the Goldhair clan, who are Torig's backers, and his wife's clan. In truth, John has shown the utmost generosity to High King Torig by not only planning the exile play, but also by sparing a lot of lives from the Nords of the Dragonhunt Alliance. The words of "you are free" that John used, and his speech reached far and wide, making every clan compliment his wisdom and ability. All the clans of Skyrim are the core power of Skyrim's military and what keeps the realm together. Torig surely understood what kind of ridiculous thing he asked. He may have sinned, but Thane Eriker holds a lot of weight. I wouldn't bother if he is dead, but his life will make transferring his assets faster. His sister will serve as a better replacement, while he will be stripped from all titles and get exiled from the realm. Torig said sincerely, Fine, he is still alive, but I doubt he will be of any use. Alina said, What is the meaning of this? Sybil Stentor, who is standing behind Torig, asked. I should send someone to fetch him. I think seeing is better than hearing. Alina signaled to an assistant and was about to send an order. No need, we want to see things ourselves. Torig took another approach. Very well, this way. Alina walked out of the casino and took the way north to a building near the Dare Barracks. This was Winterhold's prison, the Black Room. It was a cube-like black building with barely any opening other than a heavy metal door. Torig and his attendants followed Alina in, and the scene took them by surprise. The Black Room was a small building from outside, but from inside, it was going underground and seemed very deep. It was just a very wide and deep pit in the ground with prison cells dug in its walls. Any prisoner in here have the liberty to pick whichever lock they want, but good luck climbing up. The place has many magical restrictions that don't allow the use of any drop of magicka without certain items. The guards of the Black Room greeted the nobles who arrived and activated a certain mechanism that moved a wooden platform up and down. Alina casually stood on it and invited the guests to join her. They were surely worried about the lift that moved on gears and chains, but seeing the sturdy design made them move on hesitantly. The lift traveled underground until it reached the 7th level, which is the lowest one. How did you people dig a hole like that? Torig asked. Utility Frost Atronachs and Ladder Stone Foundation Atronachs. Incredible. Alina led the group to the cell deepest in the deepest floor and opened it up. The ominous and dark that flowed from the room can make whoever unfortunate enough to stay there lose their minds. Alina walked in followed by the rest. The group looked around and found nothing. What is the meaning of this? Falk asked Alina with a stern tone. Hold on, Sybil said as she seems to have discovered someone in a dark corner. Alina cast a candlelight and the cell lit up. There was indeed someone that Sybil could see before the others because of her being a vampire. Still, the scene was horrible. A man was stuck to the corner, trying too hard not to make a single sound. He had no hair on his head or face, and his skin was white like a sheet. Terror filled his eyes as he tried to look away from Alina. If John saw that man, he may mistake him for a soul shriven from Cold Harbor. Torg saw the man in rags and could tell his identity by just the outline of his face. Eriker, or the one who used to be Eriker, was shaking from fear. His whole being was trying to just open a black hole and disappear into it. How in the world did this happen? Falk asked Alina. We never tortured him physically, if that's what you're asking. Alina replied nonchalantly. True, but you used your eyes on him, the same way you used it on the arch-wizard Altmare that you put down. Sybil figured it out. Guilty. Alina didn't even bother denying it. The fate of Thane Eriker was the most gruesome between those who made enemies with Winterhold. He was by far the most hated person to the Dare Dragon Company and their allies. He stupidly walked in Winterhold thinking about conquering it, driven by his hate toward John. He ignored the king's constant orders of dropping the animosity with Winterhold and made fatal mistakes. John managed to drive Eriker to a corner many times and showed his incompetence when he severed him from his Altmare caretaker, and that was the downfall of Eriker. There is no pitying the fool. He lost in the end and got his mind broken. Death should put an end to his misery, but he is Alina's prisoner, and Torg can't say much about that unless he wants to upset the Dare Dragon Company, which is bad for business, as Eriker used to say. I think we can't do anything about that, Torg said. His sins are grave, and we can never request for his atonement. The official story will be that Thane Eriker perished in a storm after he was kicked off the gates of Winterhold alone with the spear tips to his back. Torg turned around to leave, but he halted next to Alina. I hope that Kine will grant him a merciful end. By your wish, your grace. Alina nodded and saw the group out, but she still remained. Alina looked at Eriker, who was uttering no sound in the corner. You have done well, Gecko. Eek! Eriker, or rather Gecko, cowered in his corner as if a monster was about to attack him. Alina's eyes glared and shifted into snake eyes. She gave Gecko a strong pressure that made his limbs twist and his body quiver in pain. You know, Gecko, I am very sad at you. I give you a name and a place to stay, yet you didn't send me any congratulations for my wedding. That's right, the past few days I didn't show up because I was busy. Forgive me, Gecko. John came and we won the battle. I was so happy that I forgot about you. But now, Gecko, John has left me once again because of what you did, Gecko. If you only didn't start all that, John's true identity would have been kept secret and none of this was to happen. Don't you think you are a bad person, Gecko? Alina's eyes showed a glare of anger and a look of madness. She tormented Gecko with her eyes till his screams filled the prison. One last thing, Gecko. You know, my husband left me with a certain Daedric artifact that eats away people's thoughts and turn them into nightmares. This will be our new game. I will leave this artifact in this prison around you, and it will torment you while I am away. I'm sure you will love this, Gecko. Alina handed the skull of corruption, hidden in her robe. She took it out and fixed it outside Gecko's cell. John has actually used the skull like that before and used the Black Room as a way to charge the skull. That is why it was built 7 layers underground. Each layer deeper has a more intense effect from the skull, mimicking the 7 layers of hell from the Islamic mythology that start with the abyss at the top and Gehenna as the bottom. The skull glowed in green as its foul magicka started to spread around. The Black Room was designed to keep that energy in and not leak it out, making this place the worst nightmare to criminals in Winterhold. Alina looked at Gecko, who was biting on his fingertips from agony. Kine would have shown mercy, but Vermina wouldn't. I shouldn't do this, but I can't help it, Gecko. I can't help but fall to temptation and be driven to sin. We are all sinners after all. Why hide from it? Alina sealed the cell door, and with it the fate of Eriker. Part 2. Polyjuice. Away from Winterhold on the top of a certain mountain, Elenwen was looking down on the bloody mess John left behind. She was infuriated beyond words, but little she can do now. She knew those people have no chance against John, but at least it could make him an easy target to capture. Unfortunately, that was not true. John was too vicious, using everything around him to his advantage. As far as she is aware, The normal telekinesis spell can't carry a few tons like some toy. John's electro hand was very superior and a shocking spell. Still, an arch-wizard like her could handle a fight against John. The only reason why she didn't step in, or rather, the only reason why she couldn't step in was that sword on her throat. "He is gone. Can I go now?" Elenwen asked. "Come on, kid. Don't you have some free time to spend with an old woman?" The person holding the sword replied nonchalantly. It was a Dunmare lady with a white hair, and she was none other than Alf Fyr. "Aren't you ashamed? You student took a human as her student while you are the line of Divaith Fyr, the most supreme sorcerer line in the world. You have a human in your line." Elenwen cussed. "Why is that? He is not the only human in Lord Fyr's line of apprentices. Also, Lord Fyr is quite fond of that boy." "You got to be kidding me. I can take you there myself if you want to ask Lord Fyr." "That's what I thought. This is not over. The ancestors from Alinar will hear of this." "You mean that woman?" Alf said. "She ought to be 1,000 years old by now. I doubt your head will serve as a good birthday gift." "Oh, the boy has already sent 10 heads. He had a style in doing so too. Let that serve as a warning then." "A warning?" "Exactly," Alf said and retreated her sword. "If a boy from Lord Fyr's line can do what he did under the age of 20, do you think the others can do any less? Or do you perhaps think that Skyrim or the Empire are without ancestors, little girl? You still know too, little girl. Give yourself a break and get out of here." Alf turned around and disappeared, leaving Elenwen to her mess. John was standing in the middle of the road while being stopped again, this time by Ulfric's Stormcloak. "Thane John." "Not anymore, Jarl Ulfric." Ulfric seemed to have never returned to Windhelm yet. He was waiting for John on the crossroads before the Nightgate village with his men. Ulfric jumped off his horse and walked forward to John. "If you are not welcome in their holds, you are welcome in mine. Eastmarch is open to you. Is that rebelling against the High King's decree, Jarl Ulfric?" "Haha, I don't care about the boy king. I am here for a true Nord hero," Ulfric said with a bright face. John couldn't help but laugh. "Just give up on me, I don't like wars." "I still don't get it." Ulfric frowned. "We are making an end to the oppressive tyranny of the Empire and the Dominion. You gave those elves a beating that they didn't suffer since the Sez of the Great War." John looked around and sighed. "You already heard my words back then, and I respect them, but if I can change your opinion." There's a lot of glory in the coming days that... Please, I said that before. Let me tell you a story, Jarl Ulfric. A story about a world similar to this, which had many great wars over race, resources, religion, and territory. Nothing different, you see. But the ages advanced, and the war changed, making wars more hideous time by time. You see, I've seen that world firsthand, and back then people would hear the word war, and they would sing and cheer and celebrate for days, much like how we Nords do now. Wars were worthy of being celebrated until a war called the First World War. People cheered before it like they always did and suffered more than what they could imagine to the point that when the Second World War came, those people who cheered before cried blood for tears. If this war you're going had a point, then I would welcome it, but that war is going to serve the enemy of man as brothers kill one another. See why I always oppose your war? You're doing exactly what you always wished to never do, which is playing on the palms of those elves. You think we won't win, and you won't lose. Either way, it will be a season unending. A season unending. It may be like that. Ulfric nodded. Very well. As he retreated to his men, Ulfric grabbed the reins of a certain black horse and walked back to John with it. "This is a horse is from the finest of my stables. I know you can conjure fancy magic horses, but these are your signature. Take this, its breed hails from the Yakudin Chargers. Finest steeds on Tamriel. Jarl Ulfric, I can't thank you enough for this." "No need." Ulfric turned around and jumped on his horse, then rallied his men. John also jumped on his new horse. "By the way," Ulfric called. "Yes. The horse's name is Jurgen. Take care of him and Godspeed," Ulfric said, then rode away. John was shocked for some reason. He was frozen for at least a minute. "You are Jurgen?" John asked his black horse for no reply to come. Looks like I'm not the only one who got reincarnated here after all. Not sure if it is a coincidence. John dismissed the matter here. Human, this is a new friend. Nefertiti appeared on John's shoulder. Yeah, we got a ride. Good, but will people keep stopping you every now and then along the road? Oh, right. I have that. John took out the white file. The potion master Nurelian created can do that. The words that crazy alchemist said was, "This potion is forbidden throughout the kingdom after the evil mage, Jagger Tharn, used it alongside illusion magic to replace the Emperor of Cyrodiil." Events of the Elder Scrolls, Arena. With this potion, John can. He drank it right away. With a certain illusion spell cast after it, the magic started to happen. Nefertiti saw the effect happen, and her ears dropped down from shock. The illusion John cast was creating a physical effect that can be seen through by magic. John's body was moving from the inside, and his bones were readjusting themselves. His hair grew at some parts and shortened at others. He was transforming. As he was done, his final appearance came to be. Human. John looked at his hands and laughed. Impressive. Nefertiti, how do I look? She was having a hard time to speak. It seemed that her shock won't wear off anytime soon. John took out a mirror and looked at his face. Tabby fur, long ears, big face, feline eyes. Yep, now let's work on the accent. Ahem. Kaj. No. Ahem. Kaji it has wares if you have coin. How is that? In Nefertiti's eyes, John was a large tabby Kajiat with tail, claws, and all. It seems this polyjuice potion works well, no? Kajiat is pleased. Let's head to Whiterun before my fur freezes. Chapter 407. The Fifth Labor, 1-2, Morag Tom. Another double chapter. Works get easier this way. Part 1. 3 days later, Whiterun. Kajiat wants to go into town. Bugger off, your kind ain't welcome in. But Kajiat had done nothing wrong. Kajiat only wants to go inside. Bugger off, or I'll throw you in the castle's cell cat. What sort of discrimination is this? Kajiat only requested entry. I said bugger off, or else. Humph, Kajiat is going away. For the first time in his 2 lives, John was facing racial discrimination. The guards of Whiterun were clearly harassing Kajiats and Argonians, not allowing them in at all costs. It's okay, Human. They are clearly jealous of your glorious mane. Nefertiti said. Nefertiti remained stuck to John for the past few days as he kept his Kajiat form, observing him closely. Somehow, she was fascinated by the transformation and would find ways to play with the new John she has. My glorious mane? I am happy that you see it this way, but is still disturbing. Sadly, I took the polyjuice potion this morning and can't transform unless 24 hours pass. This is annoying. John was still annoyed about the discrimination. He kept looking for a while around the gate. He could sneak in or use teleportation, but this will cause problems if someone asks for identification inside Whiterun. While he was at it, a wood elf passed in front of him with a small wooden tablet. This seemed to be a foreigner's pass. John has a diplomatic pass, carrying the seal of House Vici, but that will cause attention for him. While that wood elf got his pass marked for entry by the guards and went in, John manipulated the pass from the elf's bag by telekinesis and snatched it away. Ionia //////. The name of the elf seemed to be Ionia, and the marks beside the name indicated the number of entries, which is 4. This will work. John used his claws and carved on the wood, changing the name. Jonia. Much better. He took a liking to his Kajiat name and kept the wooden tablet for himself. He then hid from the eyes and teleported in the town. Whiterun is Whiterun, a bustling hub and a prosperous place. No wonder all Skyrim players make this place their home base despite how tiny the player home is in this city, without mods, of course. As he walked the streets of Whiterun among the common folk, he felt like going back to the life of a nobody, like how things were in Riften and in his past life. John felt so much lighter. He is now just another ordinary mug in the street who would avoid attention and pickpocketers. With really nothing to do, John sat outside the Bannered Mare and drinking some Dunmary Sujamma to blend in. System, remind me again of the content of the labor's riddle. Reach the unreached under the dragon, under layers of lies and cheat. Keep silence, else your success is not guaranteed. Seek the servants of the dark mistress. Face their traitor. There, you'll find the blade of deceit. Unreached means that something is being hid, and the word dragon with the word reach means Dragon's Reach Palace of Whiterun. The only thing that is hidden there is that weapon. I understand that, but Azura mentioned the dark mistress, her servants, a traitor, and a blade of deceit. From my knowledge of the game, I am well aware of what's inside Dragon's Reach, but Azura doesn't know that I know. She wants me to seek help because, unlike the game, some random vagrant won't be even let near the castle, let alone inside it. Dark Mistress. Basically, every female Daedra calls herself the Dark Mistress, and add the Night Mother to the bunch, but I doubt that the Dark Brotherhood has any bases here. Servants of the Dark Mistress. I see. I noticed those guys last time I was here. The Morag Tong of Morrowind. Servants of Mephala, the original Dark Mistress whose Morag Tong was the origin of the Dark Brotherhood, and the Night Mother was once the head of the Tong. Good job, John. Jonya. The Morag Tong, which translates to the Killing Guild, is the most ancient society of assassins on Tamriel. They worship the web-spinner Mephala and used to do their kills under the protection of the law. For example, the guild had a system called the writ system. Any assassin caught with a writ for a certain killing he committed will be set free. This was the old practice in Morrowind until an emperor was killed and the Tong became a crime faction all across Tamriel. Right now, the Tong is rarely seen outside Morrowind, and their presence in Whiterun was the most curious thing to John. Still, he needed to find them, and guess who is the traitor among them? May I sit here? A voice interrupted John's thoughts. John looked to the side and found a red guard man, pointing to the spare chair on his table. Looking around, many places were empty. Does Furless one have to? John asked. I see why not. Then Khajiit welcomes you. Thanks. John perfected the act of both the accent and the Khajiiti generosity. He then didn't bother with the man and put more food to Nefertiti sitting on the table. He was still thinking of how to contact the Mora. Excuse me, but he was rudely interrupted. Yes, my friend. How can Khajiit help you? How did a Khajiit enter Whiterun by the by? The Red Guard asked. John examined the curious man up and down. He was a young one, trained, short-haired, and seemed to be well off. His clothes were clean, and the style was foreign, not giving John a hint of what this man does. John smiled and replied, Khajiit has many charms. I took bet against the guard on who has it better, Khajiit's mane or Nord's beard. Khajiit won by a hair's width. It was a beard contest after all, ha-ha. Oh ha, I see. John's affinity to bullshit was as good as ever. By any chance, you two are the Red Man and the Black Cat? The ones sent by Lady Urania? Seeing not only John but Nefertiti react, the Red Guard was shocked senseless. What should we do? Kill now, ask later. Wait. As the two felines were having their eyes glowing brightly with killing intent, the Red Guard raised his hands up, trying to not alert anyone. I'm here to receive you. The word was a red man and a black cat will arrive, not a red Catharat and a black Alphic. The scene felt a bit cringy. Was this how the Morag Tong operates, or rather? You are new at this? Khajiit means, shouldn't the Tong use passwords or secret handshakes? What if Khajiit is not the one you're looking for? Oh, the Red Guard started feeling awkward. Today, he and the other disciples should be on the lookout for a large red man and a black cat, but the team around Whiterun didn't find anyone with that description until the gate was closed on sunset. Realizing that they should have missed something, the Tong started looking around in the inns and taverns until this combination of a red Khajiit male and a black cat was found. My name, they call me Gray Sand. Goodness, you are clearly very green. John shook his head. This one is Jonya, and this is Khajiit's little sister. Oh, I see. The one who sent me wishes to speak with you. Very well. Khajiit will follow. but do something funny and Cageot will make Gray Sand regret it. Okay. Gray Sand paid for John's bill and invited him forward. The two took the way out of the inn to the Plains District and further to the slum beside the low walls. There, the two arrived a rundown building with no special feature about it. Gray Sand knocked on the door twice, then once, then 6 times. A secret knock. Now you're talking. John nodded in satisfaction. Yes, huh? The door opened and Gray Sand walked in, followed by John. Inside, a number of random-looking people were standing by on corners. As John took a step in, small crossbows were aimed at him from all directions. Gray Sand, who'd you brought? A female voice spoke from all corners. Oh, impressive. Cageot is not scared, though. John smugged in. My lady, this Cageot, he is the red man with the black cat. Despite saying so, none put down their crossbows. This screw-up. He did it again, didn't he? He is dead this time. The ones around looked down on Gray Sand and chattered among themselves. Gray Sand, the descriptions were a red man. The voice spoke. Yes, he is a Cageot male with tabby fur. And the black cat. Meow. Nefertiti responded. Somehow, it made sense to the owner of the voice. Fine, she said, and one of the people on the corner stepped forward. As it approached the light, its features showed up as a Dunmare woman. So, a tabby Cageot and a black cat are a red man and a black cat? Makes sense, but... The woman aimed her crossbow at John's forehead and spoke. You are supposed to be a Nord. Cageot can be whatever you want. John replied in a playful way. Really? She smiled and looked at Gray Sand. How much does this cat know? Gray Sand was sweating profoundly. Oh, that much. You really ran your mouth. Actually, Red Leaf. He already knew about the tong when I talked to him. Gray Sand said. He did? Looks like this Cageot ain't walking out of this easily. Red Leaf turned her glare at John. Cat, how much do you know? John was lazily looking around until the question was directed to him. Enough to solve your problem. Oh, that's interesting. I don't have any problems as far as I can tell. Not even a traitor problem? John tilted his head. The woman lowered her crossbow for a second, but raised it once again. Who the fuck are you? Finally, the woman showed some expressions that John likes. Hold on a sec, he said as he put his hand on his face, casting dispel. None in the room could expect that one coming. A Cageot with its face reforming and deforming, his hair growing and shortening, and his tail going away. As soon as this was done, someone else entirely stood in place of that Cageot. A tall man, with long red hair and a traveler's facial hair, looking down at them. Matches the description now. Part 2. How in the dark name of Mephala. Just to disclose things, this ain't a magic others can do. John made himself at home and sought out a cozy chair beside the house's fire pit. What can we call you now? The woman stood in front of John and asked. The red man sounds good. You guys call yourselves some fancy names around here, so pick me one. John said, I am in no mood to humor you, so answer the questions I ask. Many faces, many aliases, it is hard to keep track. I prefer to be known as Krylin. Red Leaf seemed short on patience with John's temperaments, but she still wanted to know more. So, Krylin, I suppose you are the ones who labor for Lady Azura. Indeed. We received a message from a priestess of Azura called Arania, Azura's prophet, and also a message from the headquarters telling us to cooperate with you. I'm glad then. One thing you have to remember, however, is that I am the leader of this sanctuary and I don't take orders from some laborer. Whatever that labor is, we will provide help as we see fit and operate our way. Whatever. Now to the more pressing matter. How do you know about the traitor? Red Leaf asked. John looked to the people around the place, then back at Red Leaf. You seem very comfortable speaking the fact out loud, even though I was only teasing you with it. Please, we are servants of Mephala, Lady of Murder, Sex, and Secrets. Do you think we are some run-the-mill gang, just because one is an idiot? She said while glaring at Gray Sand. Truth be told, your Tong's demise is pretty epic, and the so-called idiot is the one who found me in the end. Fine, now cut to the chase. Is your labor about the traitor? Not really, John said and found a fresh-looking apple on the table. Is this poisonous? No. TSK. So unprofessional. 200 years ago, these things were the real deal. Your labor. Red Leaf's tone became stern. Collect the blade of deceit. Maybe I'll face some traitor in the process, according to Azura's poem. The atmosphere of the room turned cold as John said those words. John didn't even bother as he ate the apple and offered a bite to Nefertiti. Red Leaf was very frustrated. Her face twitched and twisted many times, revealing her complicated emotions. All she could do then is to slap the table and spring away on her feet to take some air. None of her disciples standing around dared to even go near her while her mood was foul. The gods, they are so cruel, she groaned. Tell me about it. John played along. For years, for so many fucking years, I have established this sanctuary to retrieve the blade and kill the traitor, but, God, she slapped the furniture again. For them to only send another guy to get the job done, right? John continued for her. She turned around glaring at him. Well, this is getting interesting. John turned to her. It seems my labor and your ultimate goal in life are entwined. Now let's have a chat. Red Leaf found it frustrating, but as the gods have spoken, she can do nothing about it. She merely walked back to her chair beside the fire opposite to John. Red Leaf, I'm a sensible man, and I understand your frustration. If your mission is to retrieve a blade and kill a traitor, then consider me here to add on to your number and get this thing over. Don't you agree it is for the best? The woman didn't seem to be going to respond, so John kept going. I assume that the blade of deceit is the ebony blade of Mephala. The blade is currently sealed in the Jarl's castle, and your mission is to get out, but you seem to be unsuccessful till now. I assume that the traitor is someone inside the Jarl's castle too, and is pretty much a formidable opponent. Red Leaf eased up a bit and nodded. You are right. The ebony blade is sealed somewhere in that humongous castle, and the traitor is inside guarding it. Good. My exact mission is the blade, so I'll be blunt when I say I have no interest in your grudges. But I can't help being curious. Who on Nirn is so formidable in Dragon's Reach that a whole Morag Tong cell can't go up against? John's question was received by Red Leaf's stiff face and bitter reply. My older sister, the finest assassin the Morag Tong has ever trained in the whole Fourth Era, as the elders would say. Her name is Irileth. Hold on. Irileth? Jarl Balgruuf's attendant. You seem to be aware of her identity. Yes, this is a problem indeed. A problem? I am well aware of her skill in combat, since I saw her fight a few times. John made that one up. The things on his mind were how Irileth was an important character in the future. If she is to die now, the game's main quest may get really more messed up than what it already is. Irileth is one of the characters that the players interact with very early, and is basically Jarl Balgruuf's bodyguard and lifeline, the man who is opposing the Civil War. This was problematic indeed. Do you have a plan? John asked. No. Red Leaf was blunt about it. Anyone who enters in there doesn't survive Irileth. I see. So your disciples are obviously no match against her, and she detects them quite easily. That means whatever plan we come up with won't put someone with the level of your people in any close position to Irileth, even as a lookout. You are right. What about you? What about me? How much can you fare against her? John asked. Red Leaf turned silent before replying. She taught me everything I know. Oh, no wonder. All in all, the fact that Red Leaf and her disciples are not making any progress against Irileth is because she is actually their mentor. That's the worst natural enemy of all, especially with how talented Irileth is. Just what is the Tong thinking by sending Red Leaf after Irileth? How did she become Balgruuf's attendant anyway? Her talents are so wasted as a bodyguard, and I am not buying their old friendship story. My sister was talented. So talented that she was chosen to carry the blade of deceit. According to legends, the blade will grow dull and rusty if it is not fed with the blood of deceit, and as its keeper, she was to slay those who trust her in order to bring up the blade's full potential. In other words, yes. But she chose not to, and Balgraf found her, talked his wisdom into her head, and she managed to abandon the blade, then swore fealty to him, and lived happily ever after. You summed it up. So your sister spared you, and you just see her as a traitor? Red Leaf frowned. She glared at John and roared. And what do you know? The sister I know was everything I had pride in. She was the one to bring the Tong back to the top and make its name shake all the corners of Tamriel once again, but she chose what? This. I would have given my life and everything I hold dear to see her wield the blade and lead the Tong. Redleaf's breakdown was surely tough. John looked at her with lazy eyes and yawned. Being a fanatic is sure tough. Being an elf means you are more sentimental than humans. Being a fanatic elf? Okay, sucks to be you. John stood up and faced the rest. You are all too dull and out of practice. You can't even infiltrate a single damn castle, and you keep calling yourself the Tong. How dare you? Redleaf jumped at John, but something unexpected occurred. His head turned around facing her with a gruesome aura being unleashed from him. Those who were blasted by the aura fell down on the ground, holding their chests as their hearts were about to explode. John's silhouette was red as a devil from hell. Those who met his eyes started leaking like children. I kill people for that word. Sadly, I have a use for you ants. His voice came from every corner and shook the ever-living souls out of Red Leaf and her disciples. Nefertiti was seeing this and shaking her head. She transformed into her child form and pulled John from his robe. Duh. We talked about this. Don't go all psycho when the D word is said. John calmed down gradually and retreated his tyrant aura. Those who were on the verge of suffocating on the ground found it easy once again to breathe. They kept groaning and moaning on the ground from the agony that befell on them. Redleaf was on her, but facing John with a body too frightened to even stop shaking. I don't know what kind of assassins you are, but you all suck. Looks like you're some logistics team or some shit. I didn't have to waste time even listening to your story. John walked around and seemed annoyed with those untrained sleeper agents. I don't want to make this labor a long one, so here is what will you do. You will sleep early and wake up early like good boys and girls. You will prepare some flammable materials and cause chaos in the city by my orders. Once we get the attention of the palace, I'll be sneaking in alone. He looked around and glared. Am I clear? Those who were able enough to respond barely nodded. Good. We'll see you tomorrow. John and Nefertiti disappeared from their places and went in the cube, leaving the dumbfounded Morag Tong cell to clean their own shit. Chapter 408, The Fifth Labor 3 for the Khajiit Job. Another double chapter. We're slaying it. Part 1. Last night, John went all out on the agents of the Morag Tong, and tonight he was making them work for him. Sure enough, that Tong cell was only there to keep an eye on Irileth and the Ebony Blade, but they were poorly equipped and untrained. Their purpose was to act as local killers for hire while maintaining a watch on Dragon's Reach Castle. John had to even provide them with handmade flame bombs and plan for them. Even though he may judge them as trash-level assassins, he was missing one important point, and it is that he became a very absurd being, and dealing with people below the level he is used to would make him undervalue things. Still, it wasn't easy for John to prepare such low-class killers to deal with Wytern's Jarl and his people. Wytern's people were the supreme power of the hold for a good reason. Luckily, John was an expert when it comes to guerrilla warfare. He can at least manage that group of killers. First off, he spread them around the city in various positions to monitor the guard patrols and report to him by telepathy. The surveillance target was the patrols, the people flow, where it gets crowded, how many guards in the vital centers, how fast they respond to trouble. What is the level of danger that requires Dragon's Reach to mobilize its force? Who are the powerhouses in Whiterun and so on? These were all necessary information that John collected by the end of the second day. The last thing he had was put a solid plan. Here where it became cumbersome. A castle like Dragon's Reach is designed to not let a single ant go in or out without the guards noticing. Even for the great Catatosker, he has no power to sneak quietly in castles. Teleporting inside is risky, and the court wizard is there to prevent such things from happening. Killing his way inside is simply not an option. A thief is not a killer. Unlike the game, reality is reality. The VIPs are always obsessed with protection, and there is nothing called too much protection. John came up with a better option, and that is walking in from the front door and walking out from it too. How? He needed a scapegoat that has access to Dragon's Reach, and John knew where to just find a man. In the basement of the Tong's hideout, John and the other Tong people had kidnapped a man and hanged him from his feet. The man was gagged, but he kept groaning and shouting through the gag. Everyone was losing patience because of his noise. "Why do we bring that man here, mister?" Graysand asked. "This man is Wytern's court fool," John replied. That reply made the hanged man be driven to madness and quiver in his binds. "There's a court fool in Wytern. I thought the practice is only Breton and Imperial." "It's an unofficial one, but all the court members of Wytern agree that this is their fool. Ain't that right?" Asterisk groan asterisk. "How so?" "I disagree. You were the most annoying NPC in the whole game." Asterisk groan asterisk. "Really? The Jarls take your advice? I am impressed. Make sure this fool doesn't get out of here." John sealed off the man's cage and went away. Strangely, he didn't use the transformation potion this day. He actually poured today's dose in a separate flask for an extra use, and the white phial kept recharging itself. "Everything is complete." "Yes, mister." "Then roll out." All the Tong agents in Wytern were mobilized by John. The court of Wytern is a place of great importance to Skyrim. Being an upright ruler, Jarl Balgruuf the Greater enjoyed a wide popularity among his subjects and allies, but still made many enemies. Wytern itself is the heart of Skyrim and its largest hold. Some argue that it is even richer than Solitude. For that, Jarl Balgruuf had to make the most of his wealth and power to establish a powerful economy and defense. Sadly, he was obstructed by Solitude and the Empire every time he tried to rebuild the city walls, fearing that he may be too much of a power to deal with if he got himself a complete enclosed castle. To guard against the threats of the assassins and manipulators, the Jarl's closest friend and sworn ally, Irileth, was always there to look after the man. She was even protective over the man from his own family. Was it her fault? She wondered. The existence of that thing being kept in the castle always weighed on her mind. The cursed thing, just by only existing around, even under a seal, was making life miserable. Its corruptive effect made the politics inside Wytern even more twisted ever since it got sealed here. Was it possible to seal it someplace far away? Yes, but if only she wanted it to be found by some stray adventurer or an unlucky wanderer. The blade itself calls for people. It wants to be wielded and used to murder friends and families, siblings and lovers. That blade was just like its mistress, by no way understandable. Who would want to wield such a thing? Only a fool, a madman fool. Speaking of fools, today's fool was quite the funny fellow. Wasn't it this pain-in-the-ass Redguard guy who sticks his ass into matters of the court and makes a joke out of himself every time he opens his mouth? And so, my Jarl, when the two poets decided to greet each other, one said, "Hey, haven't we met before?" "Aha, Nazim, you're really in a good mood this day. Tell me, what is the occasion?" Jarl Balgruuf said, "Well, it is really scary to say, but this morning, the weirdest of things happened to me when I was on my way here." "Oh, do tell." "I was simply walking the streets of the Plain Districts, and I was keeping to myself, but the people, they were looking at me in a scary way. I don't know what is the reason, but wherever I walked, they were just glaring, staring, or cursing in a low tone. I thought my heart was going to stop." Nazim said, "Really? One odd accident. You are not quite yourself today, Nazim." Irileth narrowed her eyes. "You think so too? I'm sure something must have happened, and that's why I decided to investigate. I kept asking myself, why would the people give me those looks? If that was the case every day, then I may go insane, but what if it was an everyday thing and I just noticed it today? That's why I took pity on myself and decided to be a nicer person. Humph, whatever. Irileth dismissed the fool out of her mind. It is okay, Nazim. Sometimes, every man comes across this moment when he gains enlightenment about his life. Make sure to learn something that changes you for the better. Balgruuf said, My Jarl, Sob, I am deeply touched. Good. So, how was your visit to Markarth? Balgruuf asked Nazim. Well, I visited the Silver Blood Bank. And I met an old lady over there who wanted my help to check her balance, so I just pushed her over. I still don't understand why the guards were upset about it. This is too good. Balgruuf's eyes were tearful of how much he laughed. My lord. A guard came running from outside the hall. What is it, son? Speak. Balgruuf stood up with a serious face. A big fire inside the city, my lord. The slums of the Plains district and the area near the market are burning. What? Everyone in the castle were alerted immediately. How is this possible? Balgruuf asked. Folks say it's an arson, my lord. By shore. Irileth alarmed the barracks. My Jarl, you need to come inside first. If it is an arson, then there's a chance we are facing an attack from the inside. Irileth said, No, I am not hiding in my high tower while my city burns. See to it, and I'll reinforce you from the castle. Farengar will be on my side. Yes, Jarl Balgruuf. Men with me. The reaction of Wyderen's court was swift. Everyone, and even the servants, were moving on standby for an emergency. Still, no one bothered with the fool, Nazim, which was exactly what is expected. Were fools good for anyway? He would be of a great help if he just stood aside and let people do their jobs. And that's what he did. He thinned his presence and walked aside until he was unnoticeable. He then walked silently to the empty kitchen. The castle's layout was not too complicated, and so Nazim found his way around to the underground sealed storage. There, he stood in front of an old door which was sealed by a magic lock and required a key. Phew, I need to get rid of that face, the man said as he dispelled the magic on his body, making it turn slowly to its natural form. John has captured Nazim to change in his form with the transforming potion and make his way in the castle. Nazim is by far one of the most hated, if not the most hated character in the game. In reality, he is a walking pile of scum. The Red Guard was a fool who fancied himself some big shot for just having a farm outside the town and would go to the Jarl's court to act as a so-called advisor or whatever. Still, what John didn't see coming was how the people looked at Nazim. On his way to Dragon's Reach, he was glared at, stared at, cussed at, and even some people didn't want to breathe the same air as he does. None did anything like assaulting him, but he was called a snitch many times. John, who is the embodiment of popularity in Winterhold, was about to develop a severe mental trauma just by impersonating Nazim. It was a fatal mistake. John sighed deeply. Now, he was in front of the sealing chamber where the ebony blade was kept. He took a deep breath and touched the door, but as soon as he did that, a voice spoke to him. At long last, I was waiting for someone fit to carry out my will. Part 2. At long last, I was waiting for someone fit to carry out my will. The voice was so enchanting and alluring that John himself felt his heart skip a beat, but his mind was well fortified to resist such temptations. Sup? He made a 2-finger salute. A reply seemed to have been cut short. I know you're not behind the door, Lady Mephala. Regrettably, of course. Still, fancy to hear your whispers, my lady. Oh, yes. Hello, I am John. You may know me from Uncle Shio. I'm sure he brags a lot about me. So, Lady Azure sent me here to fix some problem. No worries, I do not charge Deidre for repairs, haha. What am I expected to do? John said with a sales agent smile. A piece of my powers was sealed behind this door, and even my eyes can't see past the seals. Oh, how awful of them pesky mortals. Have you been feeling well, Lady Mephala? My powers were sealed once. And, sigh, I get it. Hang in there, my lady. Should I write you some vitamins while we are at it? A nephew of Shiagarath indeed. Oh, so flattered. Azura and the others agreed to let the blade be used by the hands of an ambitious and talented person such as yourself. Yes, yes, I got the order from Lady Azura. She was very poetic about it, as she always is. As vain as she ever is. Seek out those who carry the keys to the seal, talk to the dark child of the Jarl, and, Okay, I'll stop you right here. No need to involve children in this. Oh, John didn't bother about conversing with Mephala more and took out greed. He then coated his hands with it. What are you doing? What is that? Oh, sorry about that, Lady Mephala. But to beat something that can defy the eyes of Mephala, we need to use something that also can defy the eyes of Mephala. John used greed, which is a shadow ether that can defy the eyes of the Daedra like Nefertiti, and took out the skeleton key inside it. He was clearly very secretive about the key and used it away from any Daedra's detection. He just stuck the key through greed and... click. You know what? You are an embarrassment to Keykind. He sent the skeleton key back again on the cube. Lo and behold, my lady, this seal is no more. John pushed the door open. Oh, what was behind the door was a dark, uncleaned room. John carefully walked in and found only a table. On that table, there was an Akaviri sword rack carrying a black Nodachi and its scabbard, as well as a writ of sealing. Nodachi is a katana greatsword. John held the writ and read it. Beware this blade, blah blah blah. Evil Daedra, dark, madness, ebony, rabbits. Indestructible, dangerous, never use it. Come on, if you don't want me to use it, then don't use all my favorite keywords to describe it. Mortals. I know, right? John put the writ of sealing down and held the Nodachi from the hilt. Excellent work. Now, I trust that you are sharp enough to see that the sword does not match the description of the ebony blade you may know, for it has languished too long outside the winds of alliance and betrayal. To return to its past glory, it must first drink the blood of deceit. Your world is admirably seeped in lies and inclinations. My blade is a darling leech that feeds on deceptions and nourishes its master. Seek out those who are closest to you. I am sorry. I'll have to stop you here once again. I'm kind of resilient against enthralling effects, so let's not get on the wrong foot together here. I'll nourish your blade and all, but do not ever bring the ones closest to me in this, for I know worse seals than this trick they sealed the blade with. And who knows, we may get along on the road, capiche? Oh, hello. Very well. Use my blade as you see fit, nephew of Shiagarath. But mark my words, disappoint me not, or you regret it will. Cool. By that fifth labor complete. Not so fast. Oh, for fuck's sake. What? Your presence is required at the shrine of Bothia. Your guide there awaits. Huh. Seriously? You could have just... Fine. Anything else? Hello. Bonjour. Marhaba. Enhak. She hanged up? Whatever. John found himself alone in the room as Mephala cut the call. He looked at the sword he touched and tightened his grip on the hilt. He then discerned the weight of the Nodachi with his sense as a swordsman, then lifted up the blade. Sweat baby Talos. Just by the weight, the height, and the feels of the blade, John almost got an erection. It was just as if the hilt is flirting with his hand. This is amazing. John always had a below-the-average opinion of Akaviri swords, which always irritated Alina, whose bloodline is Akaviri. But just holding this blade made him feel that he never held a blade before. This Nodachi was a behemoth among swords. 160 cms for the blade, 40 cms for the hilt. Standing straight, the Nodachi's height reached John's shoulder. John felt strange and brought the blade near the light. It was made of jet black ebony steel with golden inscriptions on the hilt and the blade. Still, what ruined the blade was how rusty it became, resulting in it becoming dull and unbalanced. Normal ebony never rusts, as it is the blood of Etiada, but that ebony fell from glory as it was sealed away from its source, which is Mephala. This ebony needs to be reconnected to its mistress by drinking the blood of deceit. John took the scabbard and sheathed the blade. System, read the magic in the blade for me. Underscore, 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 underscore. The ebony blade, Daedric. Awaken, sharpen the blade, and awaken the enchantments by the blood of deceit. Progress, 0/10. Absorb vitality, absorbs the life force of the enemies to heal its wielder. Fortify, swordsmanship. Increases the swordsmanship skill of the wielder to masterfulness. Note, the blade has a hypnotic effect that gets stronger the more awakened it gets. Underscore, 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 underscore. Goodness. John knew this blade was good, but not that good. The fully awakened version of this can turn a peasant into a master swordsman. Then what about a swordsman with John's level? But that hypnotic effect. John let off his tyrant aura in the blade and eliminated all its thoughts. I'll have to keep you in check from now on, so be a good boy. He put the blade on his shoulder and drank the spare transformation potion he was keeping to return to the Cageate form. Perfect. Before waking out of the room, he left a Catatosker card. At the gate of Dragon's Reach Castle, Jarl Balgruuf was surrounded by his men and kept giving orders to put down the fires around the city. From up here, it was very clear how this fire was man-made. Looking down at the base of a large stairway leading to the castle, Jarl Balgruuf saw his housecarl Irileth climbing her way up with a sword in her hand and something in the other, followed by a band of guards. "Is it over?" Balgruuf asked. "Yes," she replied in a foul mood. "Those are the arsonists." He looked behind her and asked. "Yes, it seems we have a rat in the castle," she said. "What?" Balgruuf was alerted. "The outer parts. The inner parts are tightly sealed, so we would have noticed." She continued. The Jarl and his men turned around to the open entrance of the castle. Somehow, it was dead silent, and all the fires were gone. "Bring them here. Line them up," Irileth commanded. The guards gradually lined up the people they captured on the bridge leading to the castle's gate. "We know you're in there. Get out, or your friends will be killed," she called. None expected a reply to come, but somehow, a large Cageate walked out from the castle wearing all black. On his shoulder, he was carrying a large blade. By the nine, how did someone as large as him sneak inside? Balgruuf shouted. "You, put down that blade." Irileth called the Cageate. He didn't reply. "Put it down, or your friends will fall one after the other." John saw the cell of the Morag Tong restrained and knelt down before him, blades on their throats and all. "You don't believe me? Here, take a look," Irileth said, and threw the thing she was holding in her hand. It flew towards John and fell in front of him. John adjusted the thing with his foot or recognized it. A head, or rather, the head of Redleaf. His lips twitched until they arched up in a smile. Just like how he planned it. He looked at Irileth and spoke. "Cageate thought Redleaf is your sister. Shame. She was a beautiful woman. Surrender now, Tong scum." "Sorry, are you talking to this one?" "This one is not with the Morag Tong. Cageate is just here for this. You can do whatever you want with those." "You bastard. You traitor." The Tong agents were infuriated by John's reply. Out of nowhere, he unsheathed the ebony blade and threw it at them. Greed followed, shaping itself to a chain, holding the hilt, then turning the throw into a slash, killing all the Tong agents in less than a second. "Cageate can't let you talk now, can he?" Just like that, John eliminated all of them. "Damn it, the blade has got to his mind. Protect the Jarl," Irileth shouted. John recovered the blade and whistled. Clip-clop, clip-clop. A sound of a galloping horse came from inside the castle, and indeed, a black horse came running beside John. John held the saddle and jumped on the horse while it was running. "Run, Georgian!" John shouted as he broke through the line of guards, dumbing everyone on the sides. Before they know it, John was already down the stairs. One last thing. The security in Whiterun is terrible. Shameful is what it is. "Huh, go." John stopped for a second to say so before breaking away through the town. Jarl Balgruuf stood up and looked at his dumbfounded attendant. "Even a horse snuck into my castle. Chapter 409, to the sixth labor. Sorry for yesterday. I broke my glasses, and I am a blind cat without them. Mister, I am here. Outside White Run, Gray Sand was waving to John. He was positioned on the crossroads southeast of White Run with a large sack. John approached him with the horse, then jumped down. This is him. John pointed at the sack. Yes, mister. He is here. Good job. At least you're the only one who did it right tonight. What do you mean, mister? Sigh. I'm sorry for your loss. I remember telling all of you not to engage in combat when you see the traitor, but they seem to have their own plans and almost ruined mine. What? What happened to them? Gray Sand was shocked. I'm sorry. They didn't make it when they faced the traitor. I was outnumbered too, but at least I got out. This? How? John gave a pat on the shoulder to Gray Sand, who was too shocked to react. I have to report this. At last, Gray Sand came to a conclusion. I have a better idea. John spoke. Leave this place. Return where you came from. Why? But You're not fit for this life. At least you can already tell. Spare yourself and go home. Take the east. Don't look back. John said as he threw a bag of coin to Gray Sand. But, Mr. Gray Sand wanted to say something. He looked a bit complicated, but his face eased up. Thank you, mister. I promise I'll repay this favor one day. No need. Oh, by the way, throw that sack in the river before you head out. Yes, mister. Farewell. John turned around his horse and headed west. 5 days on the road were fast to travel from White Run to Eastmarch, but John was already seeing the gates of Windhelm. A horse like Jurgen may look ordinary and all, but its speed and stamina were the real deal. Thanks to spells like Thundering Hooves, which buffs the speed of the horse, and Healing, which can heal fatigue, John made Jurgen turn from a normal horse with the bloodline of a Yakuden charger to a thunderbolt of a horse. Now, and after some time of riding, John was facing the Velothai Mountain, the large mountain range that separates Skyrim and Morrowind. The shrine of Bothia, where he is supposed to be, is on a nearby summit somewhere. He dispatched his familiars in the air and finally pinpointed the place with the most activity around the mountains. Surely this is where he should go. An hour later, he was in front of the shrine of Bothia with many people gathered around the place. One of them should be a priest of Bothia. For convenience sake, and to not repeat what happened with the Morag Tong agents, John have already canceled his transformation along the trip and made some spare transformation potions just in case. He now is only using his mask to hide his face. Jumping down from his horse, John walked forward and took out the ebony blade for the concerned other party to recognize it. However, the people in the shrine kept staring at him without doing or saying anything. These people were all warriors, which was what expected from the followers of the Daedric Prince, who is always portrayed as the goddess of destruction. John could already tell how these fanatics think, so he walked to an open space which seemed to be used as an arena. Good call. Someone spoke to him. John turned around to see a woman with a strange ceremonial armor and weapons taking the initiative to speak to him. And you are? He asked. I am a servant of Bothia, he who destroys and she who erases. That's confusing but cool. Well, I presume that you are the red-haired one by the ebony blade you are carrying. What's up with the red hair thing wherever I go? This is Skyrim, you know. Half of us is kissed by the sun. Indeed, but Our Lady has a thing for red hair. May we see? The woman said, pointing to her hair. Sure. John removed his mask barely enough to expose his hair and covered it again. So it is you, the laborer of Azura. Yes, I was told to come here by Mephala. Where's my so-called guide? She is close. Another voice replied. John looked towards the speaker and recognized her. Arania? Why was I dragged all the way here? He asked. Arania, the priestess of Azura and her prophet, walked towards John and eyed him up and down. I did not understand why, too. She replied, for some reason. You are outside the vision of Lady Azura, she said. Why is he asked in confusion, but then remembered. He was wearing greed the whole time. Greed, had a property to completely hide all the signals. John knew that, but he had the mask on his face, so no one saw the strike of realization come to him. He was amazed that he had an advantage over the Daedra, and they didn't see it coming. He only conversed with Mephala because he was near her perception. She was even surprised to see something she couldn't see through. At last, I have an advantage. John laughed in his mind. So because I was out of Azura's vision, Mephala told me to come and meet with you here. He asked. Yes, I see. I'll recommend you some eye drops later. They should work really well. He said in a sarcastic tone. Arania was provoked right away. Now that he has an advantage, he should hide it well and not abuse it, else the Daedra will come up with a way to keep an eye on him. So, Priestess, I am done with the 5th labor in 4 chapters, surprisingly. Where's the next shit show? You insolent sigh. Azura, help me. Your next destination is Morrowind. Wait, no poem or a riddle. Not this time. Your mission is to help the Reclamation movement, and you will cooperate with a team of other laborers. The Reclamation is the new religious movement in Morrowind after the Tribunal, and it is about worshipping the 3 good Daedra, Bothia, Azura, Mephala, after the fall of their anticipations, the Omsavai, Almalexia, Sothis Sil, Vivek. The Omsavai were the god kings of Morrowind ever since 1E700 until the beginning of the 4th era. This can be said as 4,000 years of worship. Now that the Dunmer are returning to worship the good Daedra, things must be changing dramatically in Morrowind. John may have managed to corrupt a piece of Azura's power and cause her divinity to weaken, so he must fix some of the results as far as the Daedra are considered. What will my mission be? I was not told. Only your guide will have answers. But if you want me to guess, it will be probably stopping diseases, rescuing the distressed, protecting something. With your set of skills, I see no stopping you. And my guide will be. She will be here, Annie. Krylin. Arania was explaining things to John before someone called for him. John looked toward the caller, and saw a young woman jumping off a Storm Atronach horse. She was wearing a rough riding hood and carrying a spear on her back. John's eyes blinked a few times, not expecting to see that person at all. Isha, tall papa, it's really you. It was Isha, the first laborer that John met, and the one he journeyed with across the Shivering Isles where they met with Shiagarath. Isha is the keeper of the Spear of Bitter Mercy. She walked over to him, looking up and down until she saw the ebony blade. Goodness, your labors have started as well? She said. Yes, you too. How on earth are you still laboring? Weren't you heading to your last labor last time I saw you? He asked. Yes. For some reason, it is taking too long. Man, it is really good to see you. The two struck it really well last time they saw each other and parted on good terms. Isha is a Redguard spear maiden with dark skin and a muscular body, for years older than John. Appeared in Chapter 301. You two know each other? Arania asked. She's the one I had to help in my first labor. Oh, that's her. Wait, I am your first? Isha asked, then noticed how it went wrong. I'm totally not sure how to answer that. Yes, no, maybe, yes and no. Yes for labor and no for first. God, this is awkward. John became confused. I mean, helping me was your first labor? She corrected. Yes, that's the right way to say it. My first time was a threesome, by the way. Why do I even need to know that? Just to clarify things. You two can get a room if you want. The priestess of Bothia invited them in. Yuck. The two of them were the total opposite of each other's types, after all. They are both sadists with a preference for the meek, slender type of the other gender. Anyway, I was really worried about the wielder of the ebony blade. Turns out it's you. Wait, shouldn't I be worried since we are friends and this blade? You know? She said, mentioning the infamy of the ebony blade. Oh, that, bruh. You know me. Do I really look like someone who needs a blade? Right. You are really a very powerful mage. She nodded. John was worried about the infamous blade, but being known as a mage is sure better. Guide, I guess I'll leave him to you. Arania said. It's okay. Krylin is a good friend of mine. You ready to go? Isha said, "Sure, but before we head out, mind telling me what exactly are we going to do?" He asked. "We work for the Reclamation Temple and get hired by the local lords. Our current objective is to gather at the old city of Mournhold at the new borders." "What for?" "Our employer is currently there. She is someone big in the city." "Mournhold? She? Someone big?" "Yeah, I'm sure you heard the name of the old woman of Mournhold." Chapter 410, The Old Woman of Mournhold. Another double chapter. Praise be the sleepy Don Sean. Part 1. Morrowind, previously named Dwemerith, Velith, Restane, and Dunmerith, is the province in the northeast corner of Tamriel and the home of the Dunmare. It is dominated by the large island of Vardenfell and its centerpiece, the ash-spewing Red Mountain, but also includes territory on the continental mainland. The inner sea separates Vardenfell from the mainland, and the Sea of Ghosts lies to the province's north. By riding to the east from Windhelm, one will cross the frozen tundra of Skyrim as soon as the Velothine Mountains range is passed. From there, travelers will have to go past the checkpoints of Skyrim and Morrowind. One is guarded by East March guards, and the other is guarded by House Redurian guards. This is the Dunmeth Pass. Don't worry about our identities. I have a pass from the temple. Isha said, "Great." John kept checking his surroundings every now and then. "So, you're being chased? That's why you told me not to use the Atronach horse. It is kind of one of the things I am famous for." "I see. People ask me a lot of questions on my way in Skyrim, too." "What people?" "Traveling merchants." "I see." John nodded. "Probably Thalmor." "Really? You made some tough enemies this time. Why didn't you escape to Winterhold then?" "Word is the Thane of Winterhold has killed a big number of high elves and got the Thalmor to pay him a bounty. The man may protect you." Isha said, "The Thane of Winterhold? You believe the stories?" John smirked. "Not all of them, but he sure is not a fan of Thalmor. He and everyone else." "True." The conversation dragged on until John and Isha crossed the borders. The Dunmare let the two pass the checkpoint once Isha showed her pass. "Where are we heading now?" "The city of Blacklight is the nearest thing to the borders. 2 days on Atronach horses. Once we are on the road, switch to an Atronach horse. Jurgen can keep up easily." "Happy horse noises." "Yes, don't fret over it." "Huh, you have some strange things around you, Krylin. By the way, where is your cat?" Isha asked. "Here." John pulled his coat side, and Isha could see Nefertiti sleeping in a large pocket. She noticed the light and hit John's hand to keep his coat as it was. "Well, that's one way to take a nap." "Yeah, it was my fault telling her about that place." The chilly atmosphere of Skyrim started to soften the more and more they went further into Morrowind. This was thanks to the Velothine Mountains that acted as a climatic barrier. As soon as the mountain range was over, Morrowind declared its full presence. The snow was no more, and the weather felt a lot warmer. Nefertiti felt the change and jumped out of John's pocket. What accompanied the change of atmosphere was the change of flora. John may have visited Morrowind twice, before one to Solstheim and the other to Tel Fyr, but both areas were covered in volcanic ash. This place, however, was far from Vardenfell volcano, and its appearance was charming and nice. There was all this beauty beyond that ugly Windhelm. John wondered. Everyone says that. This place makes you hate the ever-living out of Skyrim. No offense. None taken. I knew Skyrim is not the most beautiful place there is, but this is the first time I really feel I'm on a magical planet. What is that about? Past life and dragon stuff. We'll tell you about it later. The alien side of Morrowind left a very good impression on John. The place is sure different. The soil looked clearer, and the plant life is way too different from Skyrim. The mighty Emperor Parasol mushroom trees, herding netches and goers, natural rock structures, mountain farms, thick forests, and too many new things. The mountain road had some strange encounters along the way, but it was enjoyable nonetheless. John took a whole bunch of images with the system like an airhead tourist in a new piece of land. This is way much better than Solstheim. He said, "You've been there. Awful place. Wherever you walk, you get ash in your boots, and don't let me get started on how ash and sweat react." Poor you. After passing the mountain road, the traveling road started going through the marshlands where the weather started to become warmer and the marsh farms appeared. A couple of days passed on the road until John could smell the scent of the sea. This meant that the city of Blacklight, Morrowind's capital, is close. Blacklight is a stronghold under the rule of House Reduran, the current largest great house of Morrowind and the biggest holder of authority. It is also the second biggest trading partner to the Dare Dragon Company after the East Empire Company. The other houses are Telvanni of mages, Enduril of orthodoxists, Drays of slavers. House Hlali used to be one of the great houses, but was cast down and replaced by House Sadras to humiliate them. Anyway, and by the end of the day, John and Isha reached Blacklight. As the current seat of power in Morrowind, this city is by far the richest, as it has two docks, one to the Sea of Ghosts and the other to the Inner Sea. This makes the city a major trading hub. Morrowind's map itself looks like a pincer holding a rock. The rock is Vardenfell Volcano, the left claw of the pincer is Blacklight region, and the right claw is the Telvanni Peninsula. The palm of the pincer is made of several regions, but it is commonly known as Mournhold region. Actually, it is Bal Foyen, Stonefalls, and Dishon. These places vaguely appears only in ESO. The gap between the pincer and the rock is known as the Inner Sea, which Blacklight is on top. Blacklight itself can be described as a typical Reduran city, with its beetle-like buildings the same as in Solstheim. This doesn't mean that the city doesn't have any large buildings. Actually, there were two massive buildings, one in the north of the city in a clearing of buildings, and the other is on a vast space to the south. What took John by surprise was how these buildings had a very strong similarity to the Hindu tower temples in terms of architecture. These buildings were called Gopuram or Gopura. The building in the north is the Root Spire, the center of House Reduran and the Assembly Hall of the Grand Council. The one to the south is the Temple of Azura. Damn, why are they so big? Funny story. At first, the Dunmare were used to the system of the ruling tribunal, but as soon as that was cast down, the Grand Council kicked off the king of House Hlalu, which was loyal to the Imperials. The Grand Council and the Temple of Reclamation fought over power, and to show off their ability, they built two large bases here, the Root Spire and the Temple. The Temple wanted to show off more, so they went higher in their building than the Root Spire, so the Grand Council added a few more floors to the Root Spire. Each year, the Temple and the Grand Council would go up and up until the site you were seeing. Goodness me, people are stupid. Exactly. The Grand Council had more money, though, the one in the end. The direction the two took was towards the Root Spire, which is near the docks. The moment the two were around the place, John's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The Root Spire building was built in a small gulf on a solitary rock. It was as if the land around it sank, just like the College of Winterhold, and it too had bridges connecting it with the rest of the city. Crazy, right? Yeah. Hurry up then. Our ship is waiting. 3 days have passed since the departure of the Inner Sea ship on to the south deeper into Morrowind. John kept himself busy by staying on the deck and drawing whatever sight that fancies his interest. What made him most interested was the old city of Vivec after its destruction under the Bardau, and how the water around the ruins of the city is still boiling after 200 years because of an active underwater volcano. Vivec was a city built on the shape of many pyramids connected to each other by platforms, band roads. It was a very intriguing place, and sadly it was in this world no more. It now became known as the Scathing Bay. Pretty dumb, right? Isha spoke. What? This place? Someone with some almighty power to stop a falling meteor, instead of just getting rid of it. He kept it hanged in the sky. Once the almighty man was no longer almighty, the city paid the ultimate price. Maybe he had his reasons. John said, not interested in this conversation. Reasons? To keep a death trap above a city? Isha scorned. All his reasons were about pride and showing off. I don't buy it. John said. What do you think of it then? Maybe he had no power, but just to keep it up there. Maybe he had no choice. Maybe the Bardao was something important to Vivek, that he couldn't let it fall down. Vivek is known to be one of those who attempted to achieve Chim. Maybe like my pebble, maybe the Bardao was his existence in the tower and it fell from there. Is it really possible? But would explain, John went on a brain tornado of his own. Hey, what language were you speaking just now? I heard words, but I couldn't put them together. Isha panicked. Nothing, just a complicated magic that just came to my head. Let's head inside. John dismissed those thoughts and pushed Isha in the ship, but before he follows, he looked back at the ruins of the city and cast telekinesis. With a strong pulling power, he took out a rock from the deep part of the seabed and took it in his hands. How curious. Part 2. Mournhold, the city of light and magic and the city of gems, also was known as Almalexia after the name of the god king who resided in here. It was once the seat of power of Morrowind and a big city famed for its wealth and beauty, but that was long ago. Mournhold suffered the most after the Red Year and was sacked by the Argonians, leading to the disappearance of the Hlalu royal family. After the destruction of the city, House Endoril came in power as well as the Temple of Reclamation, and just like Blacklight City, there was a rivalry between the faith and the state which resulted in slowing the movements of rebuilding. It was very strange for House Endoril to opposite the temple, even with the reputation of the house as a fanatic one, but things were different in the halls of politics and many sought-after gains. Still, problems never ended in Mournhold. The region around it was known as Deshan, and when the war with the Argonians started, all of Deshan were claimed by the Argonians of Blackmarch until Mournhold. The south of Mournhold was unofficially the new borders between Morrowind and Blackmarsh. Every now and then, there were always skirmishes and negotiations between the Grand Council government of Morrowind and the Enzai-Leal government of Blackmarch, resulting in a big pile of nothing over the years. So, basically the south of Mournhold was obliterated with struggle until this very day. South to Mournhold, there are only two cities, which are Narses and Tyr. Narses is the capital of House Hlalu, and still under its rule till the day, but the city was kept in a sorry state because of the constant raids of the Argonian brigands. Tyr, however, was utterly destroyed, then taken over by the Argonians as vengeance against House Drays that was known for its Argonian slaves trade. John was concerned about the situation, so he had to make Isha fill him in. Having knowledge about the general situation is never useless. Now as he entered Mournhold, he kept checking around all the rebuilding process as he advanced in the city. The walls were cracked, the streets were not clean, ruffians here and there, bad looks to strangers. Mournhold turned from the flower of Morrowind to a frontier town. The city itself was in the shape of a circle with 4 districts and a stronghold in the center. Each district was septated by a wall. The Plaza district to the south was a place of gardens and beauty 200 years ago. Now it is filled with tents and slums of the refugees. The place nearly had zero security except at the city gate. The Bazaar district to the east was a bit better in status as the city's trading hub. It was the area of traders, taverns, and the hard workers. Godsreach district to the west has kept its mid/high-class residential theme, even with its appearance suffering a bit with age. Still, many of the well-off residents lived here. The Temple district to the north was as its name gave off, and the residential places around it were all high class. It kept its safety and appearance from the days of old. The former royal palace was now the Endoril seat of power. John and Isha took the direction of the Bazaar district and ventured into its alleyways and roads until they reached a good-looking building with a lot of security. It gave off the feeling of a mafia hideout with all the buff guys around it who seemed to be many all races. John looked at the large sign on the building and his heart raced right away. White Cat Casino. Oh yeah, come on in. Isha called and John energetically followed. From the inside, the place was a casino no matter how one looked at it. It seemed to be a place of gambling rather than a place with many game tables and a central fighting ring. Heck, there were even Gwent tables with a mark of the DDC too. Ms. Isha, you returned fast. A male voice with a Nord accent called for Isha. Lamas, here you are. This is my friend, Krylin, the laborer of Azura and the keeper of the Ebony Blade. Krylin, this is Lamas Sutter, the manager of this lovely place. A sponsor character returns. I love my patrons. Oh, John was taken aback by the familiar face he came across. Hey, Lamas offered a handshake with doubtful eyes. Hey, lovely place you have here, mister. John said, Oh, thank you. But I'm just the manager of the day-to-day work. The owner is up there. She is waiting for you too. The others have arrived. Lama said and led the two up the second floor. The casino style became classier by the second floor, and more Gwent activity were seen. Going deeper in the floor, a well-guarded place. John and Isha saw two high elven young ladies who appeared to be twins. The high elves gazed coldly at the two humans and snorted disdainfully. One of them was carrying a bow on her back and kept a calm face while the other was carrying two daggers and looked quite playful. Wait here, Lama said and bypassed a door. From behind the door, one could hear a voice of a woman speaking in a stern tone. So you couldn't kill him or either secure the shipment? I know the shipment was well guarded, but killing a man should be your specialty. Why didn't you just throw him off your ego or bury him beside your IQ? Oh, but mistress, there were no rocks or trees to... You know what? Somewhere out there are a lot of trees which produce air for you to breathe. You owe them an apology. Sorry, mistress. It was dumb of me. Oh, well, at least you can apologize. You're not the dumbest person on Nirn, but you better hope he doesn't die. Oh, savage. John out there couldn't help but feel bad for the poor soul in there. Lamas seemed to have solved the argument and announced the arrival of the four people outside. Come in, as he called. The high elves barged in first with high noses. Isha went in after John's polite ladies first. The room beyond the door looked cozy and classy. Lon Moss was standing on a side, and a Dunmare man in an ebony armor stood on the other. In between, there was an old Dunmare woman with a sharp face, red eyes, white hair, and a chilly atmosphere. She was wearing a classy indigo dress and holding a magic staff. John could tell her level from aura alone, and she seemed to be even more powerful than Nurina in terms of magical ability. The old woman gazed at the four youths and sneered. So this is what the gods send me. Some brats. John and the other three didn't seem to be replying. The woman looked at the two high elves and spoke. Laborers of Mephala, keepers of the Bow of Shadows, and Ring of the Khajiit. Your names? Miran and my sister Miranda. The first sister spoke. John turned with curious eyes to the two Altmare who labor for one Deidre at the same time, but he frowned when he noticed something. Laborer of Bothia, keeper of the Spear of Bitter Mercy. We met before. Your name is Asha. Isha, right? And you. Nice mask. She turned to John. John nodded back. Laborer of Azura, keeper of the Ebony Blade. Where is it? Here. John opened his palm, and the blade appeared from the cube. Oh, that's a nice trick. The woman applauded. Your name? Krylin. That's your real name? My dragon priest mask name? How Nordic. Your real name then, and put off the mask. She said. John smiled briefly to put his hand under the mask and snuck a transformation potion in his mouth. As soon as the mask was removed, the old woman opened her eyes wide with surprise. Oh my, I don't look that old, do I? The woman said in nostalgia. Indeed, the face John turned to was hers. He even copied her smile and used it against hair. You are good. Fine, keep the name, but I must see the face. She said. Very well. John touched his face and returned to his normal looks. Red hair, lazy face, smug eyes, traveling beard, and messed up hair. I see now why you are so concerned about your looks. Isha said as she studied John's face. Impossible. The one who seemed not believing what he's seeing was Lon Mossutter. Hey, Lamas. Lord J. No names. I'm Krylin. Seeing Lammas' reaction, John's identity became something curious right away. It seems we have someone with a big name indeed for this boy to react like that. I expect some expansion, Krylin. The woman said. Keeping things like that to yourself, it harms the team, whoever you are. The Dunmare, clad in ebony, spoke. Whatever. John scoffed him off, causing the latter to frown. Anyway, you did a good job traveling here. You will receive food and a place to stay, then we will talk tomorrow. The woman said before realizing something else on her mind. May I ask, how old are you all? The Altmare girls answered first. 28. 22. Isha said. Oh, pretty young. She then looked at John with hopeful eyes. 18, John said. Seriously? The reaction was fast and genuine. By Azura, the woman held her head with tired expressions. So, you're the youngest in the bunch. That's befitting a Nord. Be a good boy then. Mirren, the first Altmare sister, mocked John. John eyed Mirren up and down, then decided not to reply. Keeping it silent, I think I'm going to have fun putting you in line. Knock it off. Isha glared. Or what? A Nord with some illusions is only a hindrance. Your kind should only keep their axes. Miran seemed to be unwilling to stop. John faced off Miran, who came all the way to him. She made a confident, victorious pose as she thought of oppressing the Nord more in front of everyone. But what Miran didn't expect was John's reacting. Out of nowhere, John kicked beneath Miran's waist to perform a successful low blow. Miran, who was there as a second, took John's hit, flew up, and went down on face and knees holding the hit spot. Krylin, what did you do? What are you doing? The people around the room got enraged seeing John hit a girl like that. John tilted his head and pointed at Miran. But that's a dude. And remember, guys, that your comments are necessary to supply my big brain with ideas and feed my lonely soul. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.